Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. 2021 Week 2 picks against the spread, game previews, survivor picks, super locks, and a Cust Corner mini towards the end of the show. I need you out there to help us out by smashing the like button to the video, subscribing to Mayo Media Network, and in the comments section, tell me your favorite spread or total of the week, or you can always help us timestamp the episodes for your favorite moments, so it's not so hard for me to make a best of at the end of the year. I want to give a shout out to the giveaway winners. I had $1,000 to give away, $250 each, so at Sue2000, Zarowski 19, Travis Anthony, and Ryan _Jonas, or Jonas 1, as he probably says it. You have all won $250. I hope you have PayPal, because that's how I'm going to pay you. I'll be in contact with you by the time that you are watching this, and maybe you have subscribed to the newsletter, which you can find down in the description, and watch this a night early, because that's what I'm doing every single week. You want to watch this show on Tuesday nights a little bit later, rather than waiting for the podcast or the video to show up in person on Wednesday morning. It's easy stuff. Just subscribe to the newsletter. I'm going to throw the link in there every single week. DraftKings Listeners League, already 33% full. Link is in the description. Go reserve your spot right now. Geoff Fienberg is on the show. The debut of Feinbolt, the Los Angeles Chargers exclusive show, will debut this week on Mayo Media Network. So please go check this out. I heard you got a guest.
I do, and I've already recorded everything but the guest, so I'm excited. It was a nice week to talk Chargers football.
All right.
It's very cathartic.
Well, the third member of the team is here. The Coin, coming off a pretty good weeks with the pick, a much better week than someone who lost a free money line parlay, a free money teaser, had horrible picks, and just ravaged the league with curses, especially the Ravens on Monday night. It is Tim Undergust.
Tim Undergust.
That's not my name, and I reject almost all of what you said there.
Well, tell me what I'm wrong about.
All of it, except for some of the bad picks against the spread I made in the free money stuff. That was obviously correct to say that I got that wrong. But no, I don't think that I cursed anything. That's nonsense.
Well, if we want to recap, you cursed the Ravens horribly. Then you even took to Twitter to victory lap. Haha, the Ravens are going to win. And then, they didn't. Let's see. You killed the Bills. You killed the Patriots. You killed poor Jerry Jeudy. The Cardinals had to overcome a 3-hour flight, Tim, and 2 time zones. And they were able to maintain some semblance of football in Tennessee to win that game. The Vikings got cursed. Zoomer Zach sucked against the Panthers.
Did not play bad.
Your boy Becky got hurt. It was not a great week for you.
Not everything broke my way. I agree. It's weird. I thought I liked a lot of what I was looking at last week in terms of picks and bets and fantasy. And now this week I feel the opposite. I'm not very comfortable with the board, and I'm not feeling very good about fantasy and picks. And so maybe that'll have an opposite effect. I don't know. But those are just a lot of coincidences, and that's all that they are, coincidences.
Tim bragged off air, pre-record, days before we even recorded last week, how much he loved the week 1 board.
Yes, I got it wrong. I'm allowed to get things wrong.
I got it wrong too.
You got things wrong too. We both got our super locks wrong. So let's just.
I blame you. I took the Ravens.
Yeah, of course. It can't be your fault. Everything has to be my fault.
No, I'm accountable. That was a weird week. I took it on the chin, but I had a blast losing money. It was week 1. I had an absolute blast.
So the records from last week, Geoff was right, did not have a great picks week. 6-10 against the spread. Cust was 7-9. The Coin, 9-7. Not bad for the Coin. Pat Mayo, 12-4. I mean, am I just going to win 75% of my spread picks in the entire year? I'm going to say yes. What do you think, Tim?
I am rooting for you with all my might. I hope so. I
really hope win 16. Great. Thanks.
That's what you get. That's what you get for flexing, I guess.
Oh, that's what I get because I had a good week and I'm telling you about it. It's not like you, where if you went 12-4 week 1, you would bring it up in week 9 and be like, "Remember when I went 12-4 in week 1?" That's what you do.
You would.
I don't know whether I would or wouldn't do that, but I'd like it to happen in week 2 so that we can, do a pilot test about it.
All right. Well, I hit my super lock with Seattle, and you guys both lost. Tim, you lost both of your free money parlays and teasers. That brings you to 0-2 for the season and 9-85 lifetime. Will you get to 100 losses before you get to 10 wins?
No way. I'm about to get one this week.
You say that every week. You lost 2 last week.
I know. I've only got one this week, but I'm feeling good about this week
right.
with that pick. That with the free money teaser. I'm not feeling great about the board itself.
Geoff, I watched the games with Tim for the first time in ages at our really janky setup because the TV installation people never showed up last week. They're showing up this week, so we had to cobble 10 screens together so we could watch all the games at once. It is insufferable to watch Jets games with him, for one thing. It's also insufferable watching Dolphins games with him because he claims that the announcers are giving Tua too much credit because when they said the score of the game, they were like, hey, it was 7-0 at the time. It's 7-0 on a Tua rushing touchdown. It's why did they have to say he had a rushing touchdown? He's yelling at the screen for no reason.
No, that's not what it was.
And shut up. And shut up. And he hurt his elbow fist pumping too hard when the Jets converted a 3rd and 1.
Oh, listen, once you're at full go in the setup, I swear to you, I'm flying down for a weekend. My wife's been on too many trips. I got too many mulligans. I want to experience it firsthand and add to the crazy person quota of the room. None of that surprises me, I guess. Tim was on one last week. Every single person Tim knew got a direct message about Tua and the captaincy. So I heard.
Well, and I have a note to talk about this when the Dolphins game comes up. But look, what I was annoyed about was the announcers were saying that Tua started in his record in games he started was 6-3. What a garbage statistic is that when he was benched in the second half of the Raiders game and he was benched in the second half of various games? What does it even mean to say that in games he started, his team went? What a completely meaningless statistic that's trying to prop up a player who didn't win 6 games. Anyway, that's what annoyed me. And yes, I wouldn't say I was yelling at the screen, but I certainly leaned forward and expressed my displeasure in what I thought was a completely unfair characterization of the circumstances. And yes, I did hurt my elbow fist pumping after the Jets converted a 3rd down. I was fired up.
It was a pretty sad scene, is really what I'll say. The one thing, Geoff, I know Tim's take on this. How confusing is it with the players with the different numbers in the single digits?
It's the worst.
It'll be fine in 3 weeks once we know all the numbers.
Yeah, but right now I'm confused. Guys go single digits. They're all going back to their college numbers. Yeah, no one told me DJ Moore became 2.
Thank you.
They're so many guys. Chase Edmonds wearing 4. That's just 2 examples. We all got all weekend. The sad thing is it didn't bother me on my own team because I was hyper aware of those. But league-wide, I got no idea what other people did. Yeah, Brady's pissed. He's complaining about it. He doesn't like it.
No, it didn't outrage me, but it annoys me. And I knew right from the first game on Thursday night when Fournette and number 7 ran out there to get a handoff. I was like, this is just not going to look right. This is going to be weird. I'm not going to know people's numbers anymore. And so it's tough. And it also kind of looks bad. So I don't.
Hold on. Why does it look bad?
Well, there was a professionalism about everybody being a running back having numbers between 20 and 49, and everyone who's a receiver having a number in the teens or in the 80s, and everybody who is a linebacker having a number in the 50s or the 90s.
I agree. It added some uniformity to. It's a 53-man roster. You add in a practice squad. There's just some level of organization, which there still, I'm sure is. There's still some semblance of a rule, I assume, but I don't like it. I think it's wicked that all linebackers wear 50s. I think that's cool.
It's structured.
I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'll go from caring somewhat to not caring at all. It's not something I'm going to hold on to, but it's like someone changed their webpage, Pat. You know what I mean? Even if it's a new and better webpage, I like that webpage. I was comfortable with that webpage. You wouldn't change your webpage. I know this one might be better and work faster and do cooler things for the people at hand, but I was comfortable there. Yeah. And I don't like being uncomfortable.
Geoff is speaking my language.
Yeah, But in the realm of new web pages, it was like back in the day when the only web page like people would really have to communicate on would be like their Facebook page in like 2009. And Facebook would update. People would be, all of the Facebook posts would be just outraged about, oh my God, I can't believe Facebook changed. And like 3 days later, no one cares anymore. That's what this is going to be.
Maybe you're right.
You're just you're gonna learn the numbers of the people who you're confused by, and then it's not gonna be a problem anymore.
They're all just or you'll just, they're literally all wearing their college numbers. Anyone that changed literally changed to the number they wore in college.
And like when you're watching a game, it can be tricky to figure out, is it a linebacker in pass coverage now, or is that a defensive back covering that tight end? You don't know anymore because number 6 could be a linebacker or a cornerback in a way that I used to know just like in 1/120th of a second by looking at the screen what position it was that was covering Kelsey or was covering whomever.
Tim, we know that you only look at where the ball goes.
See, that's not true, particularly when I watch Jets games. That's not true. I like to watch the line.
You do not have the wherewithal to pay attention to more than one thing at one time.
That is
and
not
most of the
true.
time you're fucking pacing around like a lunatic.
Well,
or have your hands in your head like this.
Well, so someone tweeted out the other day, and it was right. The Jets are the only team in NFL history to have their punter roughed and injured, and we get a penalty for it.
Right.
League's rigged. League's rigged against both of your teams, I think. Well, let's get into the game. Thursday night. Actually, no. Before we do that, Geoff, I have a new show on Fridays. I don't know if you watched or listened to it, but I have finally found a Friday show that is the perfect sister show with this show. I think it really worked. And I encourage everyone out there to tune into the Friday show. And if you watch it, tell people in the comments, like, you need to go watch this Friday show. It is on the, let's say, the less serious side of things. Although, Pizzola has good picks, and Cam went 3-0, so it's not bad.
Yeah, no, Cam's mine in the picks. Cam's doing shows all week. He's a busy beaver. So by the time you record with Cam, you actually probably get the most processed Cam. Not speaking of cheese. By the way, liquid cheese is an underrated condiment. It just can't be expired. Like, it is an queso, any sort of like cheese, like just, I even was at Wendy's the other day. I got like little side cheese that they would put with baked potato to dip my fries in. Game changer.
That's a smart idea, like the cheese they put on the nachos.
Game changer.
That is a really smart. I've got to try that next time. That is a brilliant idea.
Then I'm gross enough that I'll even dip my burger in it.
That sounds like a smart idea too. I love it.
Just saying, I'm not trying to compete with Cam in the queso department, but yeah, no, Cam's amazing. And I love hearing, sometimes I think I've heard every Cam story, and then he comes on your show and says 5 I've never heard before, and I'm in love. So I'm here for all of it. I love both those guys. Every move you make, I believe in. So I think it's a great addition, and it's a great show.
I loved the show. It had me laughing uproariously while I was driving around. I loved the show. People should definitely go on iTunes, download it, rank it, listen to it, and all that stuff.
Nice pitch. I like it. So Cust and Geoff are in. I'm in. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think people enjoyed it too. And who doesn't love Cam? If you've missed Cam in your life, you get him for 18 weeks now on the show. Yeah, and horse noises along with it. Oh, and if you want to play in a golf one and done, fantasygolfchampionships.com. It starts this week for the swing season only, and then the race for the Mayo Cup starts in January. But if you want to play in a golf one and done, go do that now. Thursday night game. We got the Giants at the Washington football team. Washington's favored by 340.5 is the over-under. Both teams 0-1. Both teams 0-1 against the spread. Timmy Tuggs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I have a really strong lean in this game. I like Washington. And here's why. I mean, Daniel Jones probably fumbles the ball more than any quarterback in the NFL. And I've seen this Washington team force fumbles in the red zone from quarterbacks from like 15 yards from the goal line. It's incredible what this Washington team can do to opposing quarterbacks and fumbles. So if they can do that sort of stuff last week, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to make Daniel Jones turn the ball over a bunch this week.
Geoff?
I am with Tim. I lean the Redskins. I'm starting to think the Giants could go 0-17. Once I saw Melvin Gordon go 70 yards.
I can't believe you didn't take the bait.
Debate on what?
When I said I liked Washington because they can force quarterbacks to fumble from 50.
Oh, I didn't. Sure. I thought you were talking to me and I was confused, but hey, they forced 2 turnovers. And listen, Daniel Jones isn't Justin Herbert. He's not going to annihilate them on 3rd down. They don't probably have the Chargers offensive line. This offensive line that Gettleman's been trying to build since the first day he got in there, it still sucks. It still sucks. That Washington line, they'll probably get some level of revenge this week.
I want to note that Geoff has called the Giants to go 0-17. So
I'm not being serious. Some guys are like, do you want to bet me on that? Do you want to give me odds?
Who's the insane person? Just remember that Geoff is calling winless seasons in week 2.
You're just like this people who reply on Twitter to say, bet me. Sorry, man. I'm like trying to tell a joke. Maybe a bad one, but they suck. They suck.
They do. I don't know how you can stand. I don't understand this line. It's way too short. It should be Washington by 5 or 5.5. And so we're going to play Washington in this game.
The coin and I are taking the Giants in this spot. I think the Giants win this game outright. It just seems the spread is one thing where it does seem suspiciously small, but I think that's for a reason, that if they can just harness all their energy, block out the good energy, harness in the good energy, block out the bad, and let their secondary just take away the passing game of Washington, which their secondary actually is quite good, unless McLaurin just gets behind everyone. I don't have the world's most faith in Tyler Heineke, so if you can just shut down Antonio Gibson, this just feels like a really close game. If it's going to be a really close game, I'll take the points in it. It seems pretty easy.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And guys, I don't think the Giants are going 0-17, despite Tim trying to make that something that I need to be held to.
That's the truck backing up over there.
Tim is trying so hard to deflect on you ever since he heard that the Baltimore Ravens might be their own Custy Award this year.
No, I don't know. Them allowing Melvin Gordon to do that made me hate them for about 72 hours, and we might still be in that window. As it pertains to Thursday, I could see them playing better. And you're right, Pat, Washington seems sketchy, but that defense that everyone wanted to trust so much versus the Chargers, I think will show up this week and make life harder for the Giants. I don't know.
But does a good defense matter against the Giants if the Giants offense is no good? What are they going to be any worse? No, that's impossible. They had one guy who was blocking his own teammate at one point.
Yeah, I would expect Washington to turn the Giants over a couple of times, and Heineke's fine, actually.
Heineke's okay.
He's fine. That's what I mean. He's fine. He's not a detriment. He's not going to hurt this team. As long as Washington doesn't do anything stupid, they should win this game. Washington's a middle of the road to maybe slightly above 500 team. They kept the Chargers under to 20 points. The Giants are bad. They're a bad team. They're in the Atlanta category and the Jacksonville category. They're one of the worst teams. And so I think if this game were played in week 9, you'd be getting 6, but it's week 2, and you're only having to lay 3. So I think you play it.
In all seriousness, I don't really, having literally not taken my eye off the television for a second, I don't know what to make of this Washington team. I don't think they had an opportunity to show much. I thought the Chargers were outstanding.
Yeah, was it that the Chargers defense was good or that Washington's offense is just kind of bad?
It was a little bit of both. You didn't really fear Washington's offense. They kept just throwing these bombs, and you're like, okay. Gibson, as long as you didn't let him get to the house, I was happy when it was just a 4-6 yard carry because, okay, go do another play. And we'd make him move backwards a little, and they couldn't convert 3rd down. And, I don't know. They got some breaks that kept that game really close and some confusing things to me, but I don't really have a full read on them. And I was more impressed with Heineke than I was Fitzpatrick.
But
Because
we said
Patrick,
in the preview show that Washington would be a hard out every single week, and that is precisely what they proved to be against the Chargers.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
The Chargers,
I don't think that they're going to be a hard out. I think you're right that they're going to be a hard out, but I think they're a hard out against anyone. Like, I don't see them blowing teams out. That good team, bad team, they're just going to play close games.
the Chargers dominated them on time of possession and total plays and yards and pretty much every single metric. And Tim made a point. The Chargers won by 4 points. You know, I could crack it up however I want. The Chargers went into the red zone 4 consecutive times in that game and got a total of 6 points. They could probably do that to Daniel Jones. I like Washington here. I'm not in love with it. Tim could say I'm backing it up. They're not going 0-17, but I at this moment, and I'm wrong a lot. So I'm sure to Pat's point, there's such a hate on for the Giants. I'm sort of representing Joe Public in this, like, screw this. They suck. They're like, the line does seem shorter than it should. Washington was never out of a game and played a close game versus a team people think are good. So there's a lot of people like just blindly hate betting against the Giants this week. I'm one of them, and we're probably going to lose, but I'm still going to do it.
That's a lot in my decision as well. Like, I do think that the Giants can outright win this game because why not? It's a 3-point spread, but I don't know anyone who's taking the Giants. Like, it's one of those things like on Monday night when you looked at the graphic down below. Who did all the experts pick? Oh, Baltimore. By everyone? Yeah, it doesn't usually turn out well.
Well, I mean, all the experts took Tampa and the Rams in the 2 other primetime games, and they were all correct. So I think they actually are more correct more often than they aren't. But anyway.
I was with someone yesterday who is like, I don't even want to start Saquon. It's on Thursday. Like, that's how sketched out you are about the Giants in one freaking game. Although there's a lot of people who follow the league closely that would tell you they saw this coming. It's just one game. I'm overreacting. This moment in time, I ain't touching the Giants.
Let's go to Sunday. New Orleans at Carolina. Carolina's a 4-point dog at home. 44 is the over-under in this game. Jameis looked good in week 1. The Saints look great in week 1. They're now without their center. They're now without Marshawn Lattimore. And, you know, maybe it's funny, Geoff, you know, we see this every single year. That there are teams that, remember when Tampa smoked New Orleans with Ryan Fitzpatrick in week 1? It just turned out that they weren't any good. We could be looking back at this game. I think the Saints are okay. I'm not saying that specifically about them. But there's going to be a few of these teams that either got blown out week 1 or won big in week 1. We're going to look back a month from now and be like, what the hell happened in that game? And when you throw for less than 200 yards and throw 5 touchdowns, feel like even against Carolina, was probably a worse team than Green Bay. It's just going to be harder this time around.
That game log, that game pace, that Jameis stat line, that looked like one of those college games where a powerhouse team plays like the FCS team. That's what that game felt like. That was so weird. And I guess we have to just blindly say a big part of that was on the Packers. I do like Carolina here. I said in all our shows, they're kind of my sneaky team in this of the year. It was a strange game they played against the Jets last week. I'm not full buy-in on the Saints as much as I'm a huge Jameis supporter. I think this can be a fun game, high-scoring game. That's not a hot take, but I'm going to bet Carolina here. This could be my super lock, to be perfectly honest.
I was thinking about going the other way with the Saints, only because, although the center injury does worry me, because Carolina's pass rush, as we saw against the New York Jets, even before Tim's boy Becton got hurt, was just getting into the backfield every single time. I'm actually sort of impressed by their pass rush. But on the other side of the ball, we know that the pass rush from the Saints is going to be really good. And Sam Darnold just didn't look good against the Jets, and that's about as easy of an opponent that he's going to face all season long. So I do worry about him and what terrible decisions he's going to make once there's real pressure in his face, and he actually has to complete these passes in order to win the game, instead of being like, we'll fumble it in the red zone, no big deal. We're playing Zoomer Zach and the Jets. We're still going to win. You can't do that against the Jets or against the Saints.
It's so very tough because I believe, having watched that game, that Carolina will go as McCaffrey goes. They're going to give that ball to him 25 to 35 times a game, and he needs to get close to 100 yards rushing and receiving a piece to get that, keep them in most games. And he's good enough to do that. New Orleans still has challenges on the defensive side of the ball now that Lattimore's out. And they played so amazingly last week. I feel like if you were to lay the points with the Saints right now, you're betting them at the top of the market. I think this line should be New Orleans -1 or a pick. I think you're paying a lot of juice here because the Saints look so amazingly against the Packers. Who knows? I mean, that could just be an aberrational game. Maybe the Packers, as I said at the start of the year, may have some significant issues to work out. So the Panthers still won that game. They were never really in danger of losing it, even though it was never more than a 2-score game. Darnold didn't make any critical mistakes. McCaffrey looked 100% healthy. I'm going to go with Carolina here. The Saints still haven't gone home. You know, it was a great emotional win in Jacksonville. They're still on the road. They're on the road for several weeks. That's a lot of travel. That's a lot of wear and tear. Great win for them, but Carolina knows how to play this team. Carolina knows Jameis Winston from both Tampa and New Orleans. They'll be able to game plan for him effectively, and I expect the Panthers to keep this very close.
This is one of the bigger advanced line moves of the week, Pat. I think to Tim's point, this was, I almost believe, a pick 'em or a 1-point spread. It's a 3-3. Would you say 3.5 now, right? So 4. So there's a lot of people, and I guess this is something you could talk about with Pizzola on Friday, who just will blindly find value in the huge shifts on the advanced line based on the one game, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you can either say that's completely reactionary to week 1, or it's going to settle where it should go. One sec here. The coin's got to make a pick. The coin is taking Carolina as well. Tim said that he thought the line was too big at 4. I actually thought it was going to be bigger. I went over this with Meanie on the Sunday night show when I looked at the advanced spreads, and it was 3.5. I was like, that feels like it's going to balloon up to like 6.5 by the time this comes down. Like, people are wanting to jump back on the Saints bandwagon. They looked really good. The thing I was impressed most with the Saints was Sean Payton's play calling with Jameis at quarterback versus what he was doing, like 4th and 7 from like the 43. Yeah, we're going for it. Just going for it a bunch on 4th downs. They were being so aggressive against the Packers. Like, it really kind of stunned me. And like, if this is going to be something that they do going forward, there's going to be just expected points wazoo coming out of them. That they're just going to score over expectation of what we think. That I think that 4 might be low. I'm taking New Orleans. I think they're just way better than Carolina.
Yes. I'm so stuck up that they played a dead fish, and I don't know what to make of that still. And that's unfair. That's taking credit away from New Orleans, a team that I almost thought you blindly want to fade in this awkward hurricane situation. But this isn't the team of the past that got displaced. This is a much better team with a much better organizational structure in Sean Payton. And they took this relocation and wow, like they were a buzzsaw. Before I even, went out for fresh air after a beautiful 1 o'clock set, I came back in. This game was over. I'm still taking the Panthers, and as I said, though, it's attempted super lock.
All right, so Carolina for the round of you, and then New Orleans for me on an island. I'll just throw this out here to both of you. McCaffrey is better than Kamara, but that's pretty close when it comes to overall skill. Where else is Carolina better than New Orleans?
I would take the Panthers receivers right now.
Okay. Panthers receivers.
Agreed. Health.
Sure, but even the triage unit of the Saints, the rest of their units are better than Carolina's.
I think they're very even teams. I mean, their win totals weren't hugely disparate at the start of the year. And so for this game to be in Charlotte and for it to be 4 points for the Saints, that's a 7-point spread between two teams on a neutral site. I don't know. Seems like a lot in division of week 2. Seems reactive. And I'm not going to react yet like that.
All right,
the problem is, wouldn't you say on the other side of it, like in the other game that we've discussed, we're not I'm sure that game is different from the advanced line, but we're still excited to bet Washington, me and Tim. But this game, it's significantly different from the advanced line, but we have no interest in betting what is believed to be the superior team. So it's weird.
Well, how about the next one? Cincinnati at Chicago. 2.5. The Bears are favored at home, coming off a loss to the Rams on Sunday night. 45 is the over-under at DraftKings Sportsbook right now. I was surprised, and just watching it, it's really hard to tell. I need someone who's smarter than me and understands football better than I do. Whether or not Cincinnati actually has a pass rush or the Vikings offensive line is just absolute trash. And it's probably a little bit of both. Maybe Cincinnati's D-line was better than I thought it was, and Minnesota's offensive line is like one of the worst in the league. That could be a thing here. I think I'm just going to take the Bears not having to lay a full field goal at home. It was a nice story with the Bengals last week. They actively tried to lose that game as they were up a lot of the time. They could have closed it out, and they had the great play in overtime to set up the game-winning field goal to win it, but they're coming off an overtime game. It was a really bad spot for the Bears, who actually didn't look horrendous against the Rams. I know they got tuned, but they actually moved the ball a lot better than I thought they would. I like that they're using Justin Fields in red zone packages. Maybe we'll see more of him. Or hell, maybe they just bench Dalton. Maybe they give him a revenge snap and then put him on the bench. And then all of a sudden Fields is starting. I think these teams are very similar, so I'll take the home team. And I just don't feel like there's any love for the Bears this week. And maybe that's justifiable. But David Montgomery looked good against a much better defense last week. I think they can control the clock a little bit by running this, limit the amount of mistakes that Andy Dalton can make, and try to win the game that way. So I'll take the Bears -2.5. Tim.
Yeah, I think you make a lot of good points there. I'm going to side with the Bengals, however, because I think it's going to be a very, very close game. I don't think either team is capable of routing the other right now, which is why the Bengals will be the first end of a 7.5 team tease this week.
I would say that, like, if we're talking about a route.
Sorry, about David Montgomery, he's a marvelous running back, but Cook got 20 rushes and he barely got 60 yards last week. He was a much better runner than Montgomery. So I think the Bengals acquitted themselves quite well with their rush defense last week.
They did, but it seemed like all of Minnesota was completely out of whack. So they didn't take any preseason snaps as starters, and we know that Cousins had missed a bunch of time. Is it just maybe that they didn't have enough practice going into week one and they were in shambles?
Could absolutely be the case. But I just think that the Bears were also not that impressive either. And so, like I said, I expect it to be very close. The Bears could win and cover, but I think which is why I'm taking the tease to be safe, because I think it's going to be so close in either direction that it's going to come down to a final possession. I'm going to take the Bengals because I'll just take the points. I think these teams are closer than I would have anticipated.
Coin's taking Cincinnati as well, Geoff.
This game was easy for me because I would blind bet this one, but I also truly believe in the side here, and that is the Chicago Bears for a couple of reasons. One, the blind bet reason is the Bengals just played literally 5 full quarters. Off of 5 full quarters, never kind. Overtime teams, you like to fade them the next week. Give me the Chicago Bears. And Pat, you nailed the point on the head that I wanted to bring up. They probably got the absolute worst spot game on the week 1 calendar. A worse spot game than even the Dallas Cowboys got. Going to have to open that team. Sean McVay gets to show off his new toy. It's just a bad matchup for the Bears.
Worse than your former quarterback and the coach that didn't want to come to your team in the in their stadium to start the year. Really, that's a worse week 1 spot. Okay.
I'm whatever you just said went right over my head. So
I think the Jets were slightly a worse spot for their week.
Tim, the Jets don't have bad, but Tim, the Jets don't have bad spots. They fucking suck. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, that's not an ideal spot, but it wasn't in prime time. It wasn't. It's not as bad a spot. Maybe the second worst spot, Tim. I'll give you that. You got to vouch for your boys.
I'll take it.
And to Pat's point, considering that was one of the few games I nailed, that game played out really not even almost as I thought. I thought the Bears handled themselves quite adequately, better than I even thought. Now they get to come home. It is their home opener. they'll mix some things up a bit. I like the Bears. This one, I know we're 3 games in, and I mentioned it could be one of my favorites, but I like the Bears a lot.
All right, so the Bears for myself and Mr. Fienberg. Cincinnati for Tim and the coin. Tim's trying to tail the coin this week to get in on its luck, to try to have a rebound week. Houston at Cleveland. I assume this is going to be the big survivor play of the week. I think it's going to be my survivor pick, taking the Browns. Although the Texans look spry, but they also play Jacksonville. The total's 48.5. I could see them covering this game, but coming off a pretty emotional loss where, I mean, is it even really emotional at this point when you get up on the Chiefs, like, because they're not trying and they just come out and beat the shit out of you in the second half? Like, the books, I went to go live bet the Chiefs at one point when they were down by a bunch, and they were still favored in the game. And it was like, oh,
Yeah.
what are we even doing here?
Now, I said to you guys, when it was 22-10, the Browns had the ball towards the end of the first half. If they scored there, made it 29-10, that would have been the game. Much like that's what Tampa did at the end of the first half of the Super Bowl to sort of put the Chiefs away. You had to finish them off there, and they didn't. And even still, if they don't fumble that punt, they probably win the game. Like, the Browns are just as responsible as the Chiefs for letting the Chiefs win that game. The Browns lost it. The Chiefs didn't win it. That's the way I came away from that game. But there are very, very few teams, I think, in the NFL who can steal a game from the Browns when they play pretty well, and the Chiefs are one of them. But Houston is not. The Texans had a very nice emotional win when the whole world despised them, being underdogs at home against a coach who seems indifferent with Jacksonville and a quarterback who did not play well at all. You look at the Browns, and I just think they impressed me in a lot of ways. We're teasing them down to -5. We're making them our survivor pick. We're picking them against the number. They are on the short list of super locks for me this week. I really, really like what Cleveland did for the most part last week. Feel very good about it, and I think they should disassemble the Texans. I still believe the Texans are a bad team, and I'm not swayed from that yet.
Well, now I'm kind of terrified that you're like all in on the Browns this week. Maybe I won't make them my survivor pick, but I am taking them against the spread. Geoff?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of Browns or nothing. It's not a game I'm going to bet on. It was to see David Culley just whip Urban Meyer's ass. That was something. That was something. You know, it was a 3-point spread, and they won the game. We see that time and time again in college football and in NFL football. So, you know, you're not shocked to some degree. It was very impressive. We're still, I guess, still have our barometer out for how good or bad this Texans team might be. Tyrod Taylor's not like, you could do a lot worse. He has started enough games in this league where he's literally just a 500 quarterback. He's certainly not going to be able to win anything on his own. That was a very concerning game, though. Cleveland versus Kansas City. If you like a team in the AFC that isn't either of them, you saw Cleveland play really good. And as an outsider, you're like, okay, maybe next time, maybe they'll find a way to sort of hold on and finish off and not make those crucial errors. But man, oh man, what did I get? I got like 90 minutes thinking that the Chiefs might be 0-1. I didn't have any real money on that game. So as a fan of a team, my interest was just, I'd like to see the Browns win. And then you're like, oh my God, the Browns win. Wouldn't this be fun? Maybe Tim was right. The Chiefs are just behind the 8 ball. That's just how the league works.
Have no fear. The Chiefs will get their
Stop talking. And then they make it look so effortless. I don't know what their ATS record's going to be, but it's scary to think when they actually try from the opening kickoff in a game what's going to happen. And maybe full credit to the Browns for holding them down, but that was the scariest thing I've ever seen, because it's just like, nope, that's how quick it can happen. Every game, it's like Alabama being down 10 or 14 to anybody, because they'll just flip that thing on a nut like quickly. So that was a humbling game. That's the world we live in. They're incredible. He's incredible. Everything they do is incredible. ATS doesn't matter. You know, you bet a game, people will be upset if they don't cover. I'm scared to know what that team's floor is scary, how good they are.
Are you taking Cleveland or Houston?
I'm taking Cleveland. There's no real money there.
Yeah, I'm not betting this game either. Cleveland for the three of us. The coin will take the plunge on Houston +12. Rams and Indy. Indy's a 3.5-point dog at home. 47.5 is the over-under. I don't understand this line whatsoever. Rams are shortlist super lock. This should be 7. The Colts are horrible, by the way.
Yeah, but it can't be 7.
It's just going to be the Mayo theme. NFC East at Indy, super lock.
Yeah, and NFC West.
NFC West, sorry.
But like, here's the thing. Like, the Colts could barely move. They couldn't block Seattle for one thing last week, and I didn't expect that at all. I was like, oh, well, just Seattle's going to go out and put up some points. Wentz got hit more than any other quarterback in the league last week. 10 hits on 40 dropbacks. His offensive line's supposed to be good. Apparently it's not. And now they're facing a team with a real pass rush? Give me a break. Carson Wentz can't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. Like, this is a rout waiting to happen.
I agree. And plus, it's a road dome, and people who watch the show for years know how I feel about road teams who are dome teams getting to play a road game in a dome, and that's this circumstance. Yeah, that's all very well said. Either you bet the Colts on the money line or you bet the Rams to win easily. Because the way the Colts win this game is that, the Rams overextended themselves last week. That even though we like Frank Reich, I think he's 0-4 in week 1 starts. And that if you believe, as I do, he's a pretty good adjuster, maybe he does come up with a pretty good game plan for game 2 and plays much better. Because there is still quite a bit of talent on that Colts roster. But I'm with you. I'm playing the Rams, and I can't imagine playing the Colts right now.
Yeah, can you talk me off of why this is only 3.5, Geoff? Like, there's something fishy about this spread to me, but I'm going to take the bait on it.
You could make the case there are some good matchups for the Colts in this game, but
yeah, the good matchup is the Rams have really good corners and the Colts have shit receivers, so it doesn't matter. Great.
yeah, I guess you could make that case. There's still a blind trust in Frank Reich, in the Colts at home, in not wanting to give the people 6 points with the Colts at home. You know what I mean? Like, not sort of wanting to abandon them, because so many people do have them really high in their league power rankings. I'm going to tell you something, though, Tim. You guys could say I back up the bus in a few places. I'm going to back up a bus right now. I'm going to take something back. This is a gesture. It is a peace offering. I am just now pro Los Angeles football. I am grateful. I am grateful to you, Mr. Kroenke. I'm public housing. You built me a palace. I should just be grateful and accept that without you, there would be no road here for me. And I appreciate your desire to win at all costs, to give up draft picks, to just have a star talent laden roster. Let's have some fun. Let's give the people of LA a show. Even if I'm the Dingleberry, let's have some fun. Let's do it right. They're going to be so fun to watch. I love football too much. I love the way the league is going. To get to watch that coach and this quarterback, it's too much fun. There's no energy to try to dislike it or not enjoy it or to have some fake grudge. I don't want to have it. I smiled thoroughly. There's entertaining a team in the league. I hope they stay healthy, because it would be a shame if they lose any of those stars, because it's a house of cards. But I'm thoroughly entertained. I'm here for it. As for this game, give me the Rams. They got to go indoors. McVay's still playing with his new PlayStation. They're going to be fun until someone figures it out.
And I did my research this week. Indianapolis is in the Eastern time zone. So if you like the Colts, it's a Pacific team playing in the Eastern time zone early.
Okay, there you go. There's your case for there's your one case for the Colts, I suppose. The Rams didn't no, they played at home, didn't they? They weren't in Chicago last week. Denver and Jacksonville. There's a mountain team coming east, although they did the exact same thing last week and put the boots to the Giants. And who knows how good or bad the Jags are. The Jags are 6-point dogs at home. 45.5 is the over-under in this game. I'm taking the Jags +6 because this feels like the world's biggest backdoor cover to me. We saw Lawrence. He looks like he's going to be a huge fan of garbage time this year. Him and Zoomer Zach. That's when they're going to get all their fantasy points.
I'm not even going to touch that last part because you're just trying to incite me. But look, I think that the Broncos are going to definitely win the football game. We're going to tease them down. Actually, because it's a 7-pointer, we actually got to tease them through 0, but we do that so we can get a good line on another game later. So we get them at 1 at +1. Yeah, I mean, Denver played very well last week. I don't like the amount of travel going to the East Coast back-to-back weeks to play early games back-to-back weeks. That is a little disconcerting. That the schedule makers did the Broncos no favors to start the season. But I mean, they also gave them the Giants and the Jaguars to start the season. So I guess they kind of did do them a bit of a favor. I saw nothing from that Jacksonville team that makes you look like they're well coached, that they can maximize their talent. We saw, I mean, Lawrence was a rookie. He's going to make tons of mistakes, and he did make a ton of mistakes, but he's a rookie. So that's going to happen, right? The Broncos have a very good defense. They absolutely smothered whatever New York tried to do. Teddy Bridgewater's not going to make any big mistakes. He's going to play fine. Yeah, I'm going to play Denver.
So 22-3, Geoff, is Teddy Bridgewater's road record against the spread as a starter in the NFL. That is concerning. I don't know if I'm going to end up betting this game or not, but this really feels like Denver's up by 16 with 5 minutes to go, and they win by like 3 on an inconsequential touchdown, like Daniel Jones scored against them at the end of last week.
Yeah, that's very possible, and that's where I will be leaning. I think we're getting over 3.5 points of value from where the line was before kickoff last week. That makes sense for a lot of reasons. People are just going to trust Vic Fangio to do things against Trevor Lawrence. You saw him throw people, he threw picks against the Texans. You should throw them against Denver, I guess. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I, like you, Pat, believe that back door will be there for us. I will not be shocked if when it rains, it starts to pour in Jacksonville this year. And it seems like that could be starting early. Like Denver could just beat the tar out of these guys. And the best way to describe that Trevor Lawrence performance in many ways, I bet Trevor Lawrence, Pat, over like 15.5 rushing yards last week.
Yeah, where was the rushing? What do you have, 1 yard rushing?
I actually think they scored it for -2. I'm like, rookie quarterback. I had a great rookie last year. You show your teammates how much you want it, how tough you are in a few starts. Then they'll tell you don't take the hits, don't run, throw it away. But you need to show them that you can do that sort of before they, you just like to show that that's something you'll do for them. I was surprised he didn't take many free running lanes, but one of the funnier comparisons, it was sort of like vintage Jameis, like back in the day, right? 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. It was a lot of that, like ugly picks, nice plays. I still believe in what we've been told and sold.
Oh man, the throw he made to Chark was one of the most impressive throws of the day.
Insane, insane. Yeah, that's all you need.
It was like when you saw Herbert last year in one of the first few games, and he was just throwing these lasers around. It was like, oh shit, like that guy has an arm.
Yeah, it wasn't the throw to Corey Davis that Zach made, but
that was a beautiful throw.
It was a nice throw. I'll
give you compliment.
It was.
When we get to you.
Go garbage time. Garbage time. Zoomer Zach? No, come on.
Stop calling him that.
Well, he's a Zoomer, and his name is Zach. It seems pretty easy. We can go back to Zach Wilson if you'd like.
I don't want the preseason MVP. That's the name we should talk about. That's what
I saw. Nice plays. We'll talk about him later. I saw nice plays from Trevor. I saw bad plays.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Listen, he was a rookie in his first game. You're going to see unevenness, and you did.
I don't know which quarterback we're talking about, but you could say that about both. And I look forward to the point in the show where Pat asks you if you have an updated rankings on the rookie quarterbacks, because that's something.
Here's all you need to know, Geoff, is that Cust called Zoomer Zach the second half MVP of week 1.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jacksonville. Close game, back-to-back East Coast games. Denver might win this thing. It'll be probably because Jacksonville does something really stupid late. That being said, I got a lot of negative feedback for picking the Giants last week. I was warned about the talent mismatch in that game, and it came to life. big lead. Denver is super, super talented, and this game could get ugly, but I'm taking the 6.
Yeah, I think that Denver wins this game. That's never really a spot you want to be in. Do I think that the team that I'm picking +6 has like no chance of winning? I'd say it's pretty minimal that they have a chance to win this game because they'll do something stupid and blow it for themselves. Or it's one of those cases where Denver just builds up a big lead and Jacksonville chips away against prevent defense or whatever it might be. But I think that they can end up getting there. I want to see Denver against a good team. Like, who do
They play the Jets next week.
Yeah, when do they play like a real team?
I want to play them. Feed me them.
Yeah, like I want to see how they stack up against the Chargers because
Me too.
Maybe with Teddy and not making turnovers and like being competent, like those teams are far closer than maybe people thought.
Week four, they have the Ravens.
Listen,
They're
Pat, a lot of people, as the season got closer, that was a team I saw a lot of people starting to like a lot more. I saw a lot of people who I respect picking them to finish ahead of the Chargers. And it's something I'm even here to argue. It's they got a lot of, and rightfully so. It feels like that's a really talented roster.
I don't want that to happen. I've been picking them for years and they've been screwing me over. And that's why I got off.
Yeah, but Teddy can allow that everything people were so excited about for Washington, Denver might be, right? Except even maybe a more complete set of playmakers.
Except they have the Chiefs and the Chargers in their conference and they're in their division. And listen, Oakland looked pretty good last night too. So they're not going to have any easy games.
That's not a real team, sir.
They're not going to have any easy games in the AFC West, whether it be against the Raiders, Chiefs, or Chargers.
Okay. So Jacksonville for Geoff and I, Denver for Cust and the Coin. Now that Tim picks Denver and boom, Ronald Darby goes on IR. Just popped up on my thing. Way to go, Tim.
No.
And Jerry Jeudy, obviously, on IR as well at this point. Buffalo and Miami. Buffalo is the 3.5-point favorite on the road in Miami. 48.5 is the over-under. I will make this short. I will make this sweet. The Bills are going to destroy the Dolphins. They are my super lock. Give me them. I hammered this at -3 earlier today. It's already moved to 3.5. Get it now before it gets even bigger.
It's unfortunate that Pat, saying anything bad about the Bills, I swear, got the most like negative feedback about last week's show. And you pick them to go so far in the season and you say Pittsburgh's going to cover and people kind of lose their minds. And I didn't really know that Pittsburgh could win the game, but I thought that Buffalo, at least for week 1, was going to be uncomfortable being a pretty girl. They're not used to being pretty girls. And Coach McDermott, your team did not handle being the pretty girl last week. Like they did not. It's a new situation. Expectations on the Buffalo Bills. Not a good start for my Sean McDermott Coach of the Year future. But I like you, Pat, am quite confident in the bounce back this week. It's almost unfortunate for Miami that Buffalo lost because, it makes you feel like they're going to play a buzzsaw this week.
The strangest thing was watching that Miami and New England game. I'm just trying to look up the Tua. If you go to runthesims.com right now, you can use the free advanced stats hub. So I'm just looking at quarterback hits and quarterback pressures right now. Tua was only hit 4 times on 29 dropbacks, but it really did feel like New England was in the backfield every single play. And I feel like the Bills are going to be able to do that. I was impressed with their defensive line. When I picked the Steelers last week, and I bet them on the money line as well, I thought they had one of the best defenses in the league, and through 1 week, that was correct. And with the Bills, it's hard to tell because maybe Ben Roethlisberger is just cooked, and that's why they didn't play well on offense, or the Bills' D is actually quite good as well. So if their defense is going to be as good as it looked last week, I expect the offense to fully rebound. I just don't think Miami can go toe to toe with them if they're clicking full. And where is it? I have it written down. I wrote it down and then I forgot to bring it up on the screen. But if we're just talking like pure fantasy at the moment, where's this Josh Allen stat I got for you? Josh Allen against Miami in 3 games. 50% of his career games against the Miami Dolphins have been over 33 fantasy points. He only has 5 of those games in his career. He chews up the Miami Dolphins. They don't have an answer for him.
Yeah. I'm a man of two minds on this game.
You want to take Miami to curse them, but you also don't want to be wrong. Are those your two minds?
No, because in one sense, those of us who believed and still do believe that the Josh Allen of 2020 was more aberrational than the Josh Allen of 2019 saw some passes in week 1 against the Steelers that comforted us in our position. That little bit of regression was going to come. But the Steelers, as you said, have a marvelous defense. You should have known, and I mentioned this to Paul at the time, that the Bills were in real trouble when they took that opening kickoff back to like the Steelers 25 and finished with a field goal. Like that should have been a very ominous sign that things were not going to go Buffalo's way. The reason you don't want to take the Dolphins in this game, though, is because Tua limits that. How many points can the Dolphins really score with them, right? Like they won that game last week 17-16. Tua didn't play badly, but he didn't play well. He played okay. And is Buffalo really going to have that much trouble scoring again? I mean, what's the number that we've got to get Miami to that they cover this number? I think probably 24 is reasonable. 24. That's their top end. And I am going to take the Dolphins in this game against the number because I think the hook is valuable enough. I think it's going to be a close-ish game because I expect that little bit still of regression. It's a divisional game, so you expect them to play it tight. The Dolphins are very well coached. It's their home opener. A lot of pressure on the Buffalo Bills. If they lose this game, if they go 0-2, there is going to be a sense of real dread in Western New York that this Bills season, which is supposed to be super special, middle of September, they're already 0-2. So there is some anxiety weighing on that Buffalo Bills franchise going into this game. And maybe you're right. Maybe they'll absolutely destroy Miami. Perhaps that'll happen. But I think it'll be so very close. And so I'm going to play the Dolphins plus 3.5 here as a home dog in division. I just think that's got to be the right side.
Okay. And Geoff, you took the Bills?
I am taking the Bills. I don't know if it'll be my super lock, but like you, I am quite confident about that. Oh man, that Dolphin team, it was a lot of like, you feel like it's going to be a recipe kind of just like last year. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You want to see Tua progress and play better, but I was so impressed in the offseason with how they fixed and handled that Xavier Howard contract situation. And so many teams might have not handled it how the Dolphins handled it. And they said, you know what? You're actually amazing. And we need to fix this for you. I mean, what a play. What a play. The guy is everywhere all game. They won a game they shouldn't have. And that's a recipe for them. They're a tough as nails football team, and this should be a fun matchup. But just I feel like there's some, Buffalo being a pretty girl, like it's so weird in my head, like how important this game is for the Bills. I feel like the Bills will have a level of desperation in this game that will prevail for them. And in closing, the Patriot fans they might be as crazy about the fact that now there's this Mac Jones thing and Tua thing, and there's that whole subplot there. They might be as nuts or crazy as anybody, Tim or me. I feel like I'm well lapped by Tim on this.
Please.
You'll see that I won't have the energy for this race, but the Patriots Nation is ready for it. Like this whole Mac v Tua thing. It's weird. It's I guess I shouldn't say I'm surprised, but it didn't dawn on me the layer of Patriot to a hatred that truly exists out there as well.
I have to say,
Tim, hold on to Tim's point about how they went to commercial and in. This guy is as polarizing as something. Like he doesn't have majors like Spieth, Pat, but it's very like Spieth in some levels. He's an incredibly polarizing player, such a talking point, I don't know. There's just gasoline on any sort of Tua conversation. And I buy into that. I'm part of it. I'm as guilty as anybody. And that's not going to stop anytime soon. This league is smart. They know exactly what he is. And all these shows, it's not going to end anytime soon. He is a fire starter in terms of league conversation.
Well, the only guy who's like the only guys that have really been like that, these polarizing quarterbacks who people have real opinions on, and maybe I'm missing someone from this list, but like obviously Tebow was that way. Obviously Manziel was that way. I feel like Lamar is kind of still that way, that people think he sucks and other people think that he's awesome. And
Tony Romo was that way.
Not really.
Oh, there was a huge cadre of people who despised Tony Romo,
But
or took every mistake he made and magnified it to the hilt. I think people forget that. He was very controversial in terms of like not getting his due respect all the time.
Maybe. I don't feel like he was like, when did people think that Tony Romo was bad? Was he ever bad in the NFL?
When he would lose every important game he ever played, pretty much, right?
Sure, but with a little bit, no one thought that Tony Romo was bad. They thought he was a bit of a choker. With Lamar, like, even though it's almost the same thing as Tony Romo, and he even won a playoff game last year, you will still see people out there be like, no, Lamar Jackson sucks. Like, that's like an opinion that people have.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
No, you don't. No one you talk to has that opinion. That's just how you hear it in your mind. Because you said he's the best quarterback in the NFL, which we're like, no,
I didn't say that either. You said he's the second best.
Oh, sorry, the second best. And we're like, no, he's not. He's like a fringe top 10 type of guy. And you're like, oh my God, why do you think he sucks so much?
Yeah, why do you think he's so bad? Fringe top 10. Yeah, okay. It's like saying the silver medal is a fringe top 10 Olympic position. Like, it's second. Fringe top 10, please.
Silver medal is a fucking losing performance, by the way.
I have lots of silver medals.
No, you don't. You have a fucking bunch of participation ribbons.
No, that's not. Well, yes, I do have those too. But I also have several silver medals.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
What is it, like most relaxed?
No, from finishing second in various hockey tournaments I played in, lacrosse tournaments.
Sure. Doesn't sound very high level if you're winning silver medals in this, or losing in getting silver medals in this.
That's how high level it was.
Yeah, that makes more sense. So Buffalo, Miami. Oh, I do want to remind everyone, if you missed out on the props pool on prizepicks.com, you can still play in it. They're still giving out $50 weekly prizes, and you're only a week behind. Only 40 of 550 people went 5 of 5. So you can still get in. Hit the description. You can find the details down there right now. But just deposit on prizepicks.com, use code MMN, or use our link, and you have to play a $7.11 entry from the Thursday and or Sunday games. Just make 5 NFL over-unders, and the $7.11 entry will get you in that contest. If you have money on Prize Picks already, you can just enter the 7-11 and boom, you're in the contest, and you can get accumulation. You can no longer get the booby prize of coming in last, though, because you need to play all 18 weeks to do that. But you can still take the top prize of $3,000. It's $7.11 a week. And if you win and get the 5 of 5, it's 10 times your money on your entry, and Prize Picks will give you a bonus $50 on top of it. So what is it? $7.11 to win 123. Seems pretty good. So I'd say take advantage of that right now. Use code MMN and you get a deposit match of up to $100. A deposit 100, get a free 100, have $200, and you're good for the entire season. Maybe you'll win some of those 5 of 5s and get 17-1 on your money or whatever it is. New England at the Jets. Here's a mismatch for you. 5.5 seems low. This opened at 3.5, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I should have bet it at that moment. 42.5 is the over-under. Geoff, we'll start with you. Zoomer Zach, like you said, made a few good throws, made some really horrendous ones through. Didn't look very good on the whole. Played pretty well when it was over. Yeah, Zoomer, a short film. There we are, right there. There he is on the screen, Geoff. Why is it Mac Jones?
Stop it.
Oh, he looks pretty.
Stop it.
Who's that supposed to be? Who's the guy with the glasses? Oh, that's the Zoomer meme. Yeah, same guy. Just put some glasses on Zoomer Zach. He's that guy. Yeah, same haircut, for sure. Anyway, that's good, Paul. I like that. Geoff, so you have Zoomer Zach, 5.5. Mac Jones actually looked good last week. So I don't get this. What's going on here?
There's something I like all of them. Lawrence, Zach, Mac, like you saw good, you saw bad, you accept it. I saw ceiling plays from both that allow me, if I'm a fan of either of those teams, to think, okay, there's something here. Some really exciting throws. Zach, I'll give him credit. Zach made some ceiling plays, as did Mac Jones. There were some throws that showed it off. That I know exactly what he's talking about. That touchdown to Corey Davis.
Did you watch the rest of the throws?
There were bad ones. But
this is your whole Darnold argument all over again.
No, you're right. And I was wrong. Like, yes, it's like the Darnold thing, but it's like any failed quarterback. in terms of I just need to see ceiling, and hope at some point floor goes away. And I have a much longer leash than 1 week. I saw some really nice ceiling throws from both of these quarterbacks. I'm going to take the New England Patriots. I don't think the Jets are able to do things that Miami was able to do to stymie them. I think they'll take full advantage. I love what I'm seeing out of Henry and Jonnu Smith. I don't think they'll allow the Jets to get back into this one. Bill Belichick made life very hard for Tua, who was in a much better situation than than Zach Wilson is, and he's going to teach Zach Wilson a lesson. I like the Patriots.
Tim, we found out that Zoomer Zach's middle name is Capono, which is Hawaiian, making him the second best Hawaiian quarterback in the division now.
I'm not even going to deal with that. So I have so many thoughts, and I don't know how to get them out. I mean, I almost want to wind back the clock 1 year. The game that Zach had against the Panthers was the exact game that Geoff thought the Chargers were going to give Burrow in his first game last year. A relentless onslaught of pass rush that absolutely obliterated him. There were 6 sacks in that game against Zach. Countless amounts of pressures. The right side of the line could have been replaced by a couple of turnstiles, the way that the Panthers ran through them. When Becton went out, the left side could barely hold either. And even at times, Becton on the left side couldn't hold. Zach had, in the first half, I was very despondent. The offensive line could not block. Zach wasn't overcoming that problem, but at the same time, it wasn't a problem of his making. He made a couple. They weren't trusting him on early downs. He didn't make a lot of. So after that first half, I was not feeling good at all. But then in the second half, he made a couple of top tier plays. The run to his right to throw the touchdown to Davis. The marvelous play on the 2-point conversion where he faked them out and then ran it in for 2. The other touchdown pass to Davis. The throw that he gave to Elijah Moore that Moore dropped on his way into the end zone was, again,
hold on. Was that every pass that was thrown to Elijah Moore?
Moore had some trouble, but he threw that one deep pass that Moore would have caught for a touchdown. He put it right in his hands and he dropped it, which was incredibly exciting. So I saw, like I said, the Jets won the second half of that game. The defense kept the Panthers to 19 points. And I thought that defense was going to give up like 35 against the Panthers. The defense actually impressed me. I was surprised. Even though McCaffrey got his yards, he never got in the end zone, and the Jets did a pretty decent job of being a bend but don't break defense. The special teams, despite our punter getting hurt, played really well. Zach was one of the best quarterbacks in the league last week in the second half. Like, his second half was as good as anybody else's second half. I was very impressed by that. So while they lost the game and it didn't go the way I wanted, I saw tons of things to be optimistic about. The Patriots are going to blitz the Jets to death as well. So this is a concern. The spread is too high. It should be 3, not 5.5. So we're taking the Jets to cover the number. Park Avenue will never let the Patriots lose 2 games in a row to start the year. So they're not, you can't play the Jets on the money line, but to cover the number, sure.
You're not going to, you seem pretty confident. You're saying the spread is 2.5 points wrong. You probably won't end up betting it, but you won't even put it on your teaser? That's how little confidence you have.
I'm not putting them on the because look, I have a profound fear that the Patriots just get home so often that it just causes such chaos. So I'm respectful of, listen, I picked the Patriots to win the division. I'm respectful of the Patriots. I think they're going to have a good season. They did last week what most teams have been doing to them for 20 years, which is have a game on their racket and give it away. When they just gave that game to the Dolphins, which they've been doing, other teams have been doing to them for 20 years. So I expect that the Patriots play as well as they played last week. For the most part, they should beat the Jets, but I think it'll be close. I think it'll be entertaining. And I expect this may be Nance and Romo because you get the opportunity to go to New York and see Zach and have the Patriots. What else would you want?
I think I'm Nance and Romo, but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, you've got the Cowboys. I'm sorry, you're right. You totally are. You totally are.
So you're the only one on the Jets. The rest of us are taking the Patriots here. Geoff, if you had to make a spread for this game, what would you make it?
I don't think the spread is that wrong. I don't know. It's sort of right where I would have it, Pat. I don't want to bully.
What do the Gino? I'm being dead serious here. Why isn't this 10?
because
What
nobody
do the Jets do
Because
well?
nobody
Tell
would-
me, please. Just please tell me what the Jets do well. Anything? No.
the defense played really well last week. They only let up 19 points on the road. That was an impressive defensive performance. I was shocked that they played that well.
Their
It's a
defense
division
played
game.
Their
It's on the
defense played
road.
better than expectation, but let's not pretend like Sam Darnold didn't fumble a snap on 4th down from
yeah,
like the
sure.
2-yard line. Basically, it was the Panthers shooting themselves in the foot rather than the
Sure,
Jets
well,
playing good
Mac Jones is a
defense.
rookie. Mac Jones is still a rookie. You expect him to make some mistakes. Like, I don't know.
So his first road game, it's someone else's home opener.
It's a tough spot to be in. I just think it's a divisional game. It should be close.
All right, just
I'd lay the touch. I'd lay, a touchdown. I will probably. This will be real money. I don't think the Patriots are going to give this one back, and I don't really fear Zach Wilson backdooring me. When I'm sure he's
Even though he did it
capable
last week. Even though he did that exact thing last week.
well, he did.
Yeah, but
he
I
didn't.
think-
He did on the advance line. He didn't. He didn't when the Jets became the most publicly backed dog of the week. Their spread fell. He didn't cover that spread, Tim.
No, but he had the ball at the end of the game with actually an opportunity to win the game outright. So
Yeah, how'd that go?
it wasn't a bad bet. It just didn't work out.
Oh yeah, wasn't his fault, right?
No, listen, if you go all in with aces, and they get cracked with kings, like you did what you could.
So we're into a season of this. They're going to go like 0-17, and you're going to be like, oh, they were actually really good, though. You just didn't see it.
Yes, that is exactly what we're going to do. If you think I'm climbing down off this narrative, I'm not.
I mean, you can live your truth. As long as you just admit that you live your truth. It was just like that meme that we saw today. That was basically you. Yet it was describing a Zoomer. Like, what if we get into a situation where Zoomer Zach just doesn't want to show up for the game? Yeah, he just wants to sleep in today.
He's eating Tide Pods.
Are you slapping? Whoa. Do you need to go for a cig?
No, we're good. Let's mush on.
You didn't cry during week 1 this year, did you?
No, not at all. I was very upset when Zach threw that pick and I lost a 10-1 bet. But other than that,
San Francisco at Philly. This one could be a bit of an overreaction too, because Philly looked great in week 1. I'm going to give myself a Barry Horowitz on that one. Love Philly. But now they're 3.5-point dogs at home against the Niners, who, if anyone took the Niners on Sunday morning at 8.5, I feel for you. That's a rough beat with Detroit coming back in that game. The over-under is 50. Raheem Mostert is now out for the season. Jason Verrett is out for the season for the 49ers. So Tim's pick already coming back to get the Niners once again. I did like that they were incorporating Trey Lance, and Hurts looked great. But this defense, throwing this out here, Geoff, might be better than the Falcons defense. Maybe, just maybe, a little bit.
I like San Francisco a lot here. And Philly was one of the few things that I was able to get right last week. I am concerned a bit about what happened at the end of that game, but it was a blowout on the road and you're playing for, maybe that's something we see out of the Lions this year, is an ability to maybe be a good second half getting blown out team because they play for Dan Campbell. And even if they're down 30, they better be biting a kneecap and fighting and crawling. And maybe you can trust when you're going to get huge points with the Lions this year. Like, that's one of the few things you can bank on, is this team like trying to throw a punch until the very, very end. But I'm going to take advantage of the overreaction of last week. I believe San Francisco can represent a bit of a more daunting matchup and can do things that certainly Atlanta couldn't. And it allowed for Philly to show off, and it allowed for us to get this number.
San Francisco for Geoff. I picked Philly to win this division. Now, that wasn't really saying much because I didn't think any of the other teams were really all that good in the NFC East, but I don't know. They looked really good, even on the defensive side. Like, with their offensive line being healthy, it makes Hurts really good. And even his adjusted passing was the best in the NFL. He's impossible to bring down. And again, it's against Atlanta's defense, so it's tough to really navigate. Tim, what are you doing with this game?
It's week 1. Eagles played better than they are. The Niners defense played worse than it is. I'm taking the 49ers. I think there's value on the Niners. Give me San Francisco.
All right. Well,
I think Geoff made my points for me.
The coin is taking Philly. I'm going to back the coin here. I'm going to go with Philly. I'm going to ride the Philly hot streak. I think Hurts is a real problem for some of these teams. And maybe
I like the under.
What's that? You like the under in this game?
Yeah, 50 is too many points. I think the under comes in this game too.
Oh, maybe the 49ers defense isn't that great.
Yes, I'm not changing my mind from 1 week, but maybe.
Vegas, actually, before we continue with that, if they can take advantage of the underneath routes, which they did really well, although Devonta Smith had a bunch of air yards, he ran some really crisp short routes using Kenneth Gainwell and Miles Sanders out of the backfield, obviously the RPOs with Jalen Hurts. It did seem like that's where San Francisco was getting into trouble last week. Like, it was a lot of little plays underneath to both Williams and DeAndre Swift, and a lot of these like seam routes and crossing routes from TJ Hawkinson that they just didn't have a great grasp for. And it seems like Philly is kind of geared to do that same thing too, where they can make some of these easy throws. Like, Goddard's not as good as Hawkinson, but he's still pretty good. So maybe that there's a lot of run after catch potential, that once you get past the front four of the Niners, maybe that there are just big plays to be had. That's a big ask, obviously, but if the offensive line does hold, I can see Philly putting up points in this game. Philly, plus 3.5 is my pick. Vegas at Pittsburgh, an emotional win against a very cursed Baltimore Ravens team on Monday night. In overtime, Geoff, the Ravens are now going cross-country for an early game. Steelers are only 5.5-point favorites at home. 47 is the over-under. Just looking at DraftKings Sportsbook right now, I think this went down to 5. Yeah, it's 5 now, down from 5.5 to 5. What am I missing here? Doesn't this feel like the Steelers' D just absolutely eats up the Raiders?
I've seen this game 1,000 times where the Raiders I don't know how this happens every year. The Raiders come off a big win, and the next week they're at the Steelers, and they get crushed. This is one of those classic games for me, year after year after year. The Raiders going into Pittsburgh never, ever win that game, and they're not going to here as well. They played the 5 quarters Geoff talks about against the Ravens. And they sort of got a very fluky win, and good. Yeah, listen, credit to them. They got the win. Like, they didn't deserve it in a lot of ways, but they got it, and good for them. The Steelers are going to destroy them. And I like Pittsburgh here.
My one worry, Geoff, is that I can't imagine anyone in the world is taking Vegas. And now the spread's moving towards them.
Yeah, because they had this emotional overtime win, but we were all laughing at them as they won, right? Like, even the Manning brothers are like, the hell just happened? They just hard counted from the 1 yard line. Like, what sort of moronic team is this? But they won the game, and you know, as Tim said, Tim kind of just made my points for me. I give the Raiders the win. I take that loss on the chin. I was dumb enough in some ways to step in front of
the curse.
This first game at this stadium with fans. I probably shouldn't have stepped in front of that for my SUPERLOCK, and I was sort of beholden to it in my own mind as kickoff approached. But I don't care. Both teams off emotional wins. I'm blindly want to fade everyone that went to overtime. And I think the Steelers will cause them a lot of problems. you could think that the Steelers got that huge emotional win and it could be a letdown, but I don't think the Raiders can take advantage of it. I don't. I wouldn't mind getting a fresh Raiders to the under season number. It's a defense filled with ex-Chargers and Gus Bradley calling the plays. They're going to play a team that can like throw the ball. It's going to be in big trouble.
This is interesting. Vegas is a pick'em next week in Miami. That's the advanced line for week 3. So if I think what happens and Buffalo blows out Miami and the Raiders can keep this like within 10 or something like that, the Raiders may be favored on the road in Miami next week. That seems like an absolute smash on Miami. Just looking forward to next week.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I would smash Miami if it's anything under a field goal versus the Raiders. They bring a level of I don't know. The Ravens are hard to judge. You know, they had all those injuries and then they go to on this game. Miami is so physical. I don't want to preview that game, but yeah, I would like that. And maybe both, I see both of them getting blown out. So maybe the line doesn't change. Miami loses to Buffalo. Vegas takes a waxing versus the Steelers. And maybe we do get a short Dolphin number.
I'm worried about betting this one, by the way. This is why I didn't make it my super lock. Like, there's just something that reeks of high hell from it. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is. What's that?
Have no fear.
See, that's not helping matters at all.
Who's failing?
Round to Pittsburgh's for all of us. That brings us to the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a Cust Corner mini.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
So last week, as we were watching the games at Pat's place, the thought occurred to me, not of course, it was obvious about how much fun it was. Then I thought to myself, what is the best television viewing experience for you? And it doesn't have to be every year. It could be every 4 years. For example, watching week 1 of the NFL, watching the opening weekend of March Madness, watching presidential election night and watching the returns come in, watching the Olympics, watching February sweeps. What is it that you think is the best television viewing experience that you can have, that you prefer? What would you like most of all? Is it a football Sunday? Is it a big election night? What is it?
We talked about this at the time, and you had said that your single favorite thing to get hyped for is those sweep periods when they run Bob versus Abby Shola or whatever that is, because you love that show so much. Like we talked about how much you loved Yesteryear back in the day as well. But I think it's week 1 of the NFL is my favorite sporting event. I get very hyped for it, and Thursday morning at the Masters. Those are the two. Although presidential election return night with, the guys touching the boards, all the returns coming in. I just like elections in general when the results start coming in. I just find that really fascinating. So I would go week 1, Masters, Thursday morning, just in terms of how hyped that I get. And then it's probably like early election results. Where would you go, Geoff?
It's week 1. And it goes to my metaphor so many times when I say the Super Bowl fucking sucks. And that's something said by a fan of a team that'll never be there. But week 1, the metaphor, it's my ice cream sundae. And it's just been put in front of me. And all the brownie and all my scoops and all my toppings and all the whipped cream, like everything is there. All my friends, a full slate of games, 9 games at 1 o'clock. That is my favorite thing in the world. And I felt it last week after not having it last year. And it kind of made me emotional in some ways. I'm not even going to lie. So I don't even think anything golf could compare. As much as I like golf, I'm not, getting together with a large group of people to watch golf and make fun of each other.
So then for you, getting together with people is fundamental to a good television watching experience then?
Last year, outside of the Chargers, I didn't enjoy football. Watching football alone, the most boring thing ever. Like, the Charger game would end and be like, I don't even like this league.
So, I think there's a few things that we didn't mention or touch on. Obviously, football is great. The opening weekend of March Madness, I think I get more excited for that than just about anything else.
I feel like I used to. I just don't care about college basketball.
Yeah, in college, that was great. Like, on those days. I don't know. It doesn't do it as much for me.
The World Cup final is a fantastic television viewing experience because the entire world is watching this one game.
Yeah, but
billions of people.
You don't even like. Listen,
Soccer's
I watch it. I don't like soccer all that much. You don't like soccer all that much. How could that be something you get hyped for?
For the final game or for the tournament, like the whole period of the World Cup or the Euros, I thoroughly get excited for that whole tournament. Those tournaments. That's a great TV watching experience. The Olympics, the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, is a fantastic. The Kentucky
that's fucking
Derby.
Kentucky Derby,
Kentucky
I can
Derby.
see, but I would just rather see who won as a result later on.
No,
It just sounds like you get way too hyped for everything by your list.
Tim, you probably like adore a royal wedding.
Yes, that was on my list of like celebrity events, like the Kate and William wedding. I watched 12 hours of coverage from that wedding. Easily 12 hours of coverage. I love those things, or coronations, or big funerals when they take place. Like those things, like I watch on TV. Like that's a part of the culture. That's popular culture being expressed, and I love that type of stuff. And again, I also know that billions of other people are watching too. To me, I guess the television watching experience, as much as it's nice to watch it with other people, I find the knowledge that I'm watching something that so many other people are watching too, like the Academy Awards, is such a fun experience because you can be on Twitter, you can be online, you can watch the show, you can see commentary, you hear people talking about it the day before and the day after. I like those type of TV watching experiences just as much as I enjoy like a big group watching games.
The only one that I think I like the Oscars, but I love movies, and I'm a bit of a Oscars aficionado when it comes to the history of the Oscars. That's something that I just personally enjoy. I wasn't hyped for it at all last year because I wasn't going to the movies or anything like that, so it was just kind of weird. But most years I get pretty pumped for the Oscars. The only one that I would say that like the number one thing that I actually get pumped for, but by the time it starts, I'm no longer pumped, is first shot at the Open Championship. It's just first shot happens at like 3 a.m. I'm just so tired by the time that it starts. I've lost all my adrenaline has already come and gone, but I hit such a wall this week watching football. I got too pumped. I was up way too early. The games here don't start till way too late. And then like midway through like the first quarter of the second set of games, I was just like, whoa, like I have a show to do later. Like I need to like lay down for a bit.
I love drafts too. Even leagues I don't like. I'm so weird. Like the MLS draft is on. Like I'll stop and watch for a little. I don't know.
Are there any non-sporting events then, Geoff, that are like television watching experiences that you adore?
Not really. You mentioned, I like everybody. I'm fascinated by elections. Even like watching elections, like some of the channels that I would have access to when like provinces are having their own, provincial elections. I like just following, or I don't even know that I'm not even following in the lead up, but I actually like watching, like you guys mentioned, any real time returns. Your whole sweeps thing is so weird to me now, considering how lifeless network feels to begin with.
Well, there's some good shows that look like they're coming out this year.
But it's also like Howard Stern's on Jimmy Kimmel tonight for sweeps, for ratings or something.
Well,
like
that still matters.
Blase.
That moves the needle.
It's so blah. It's so like 50 years ago.
Give us your rundown of the sweep shows that you're super excited for, Tim. I'll see if I've heard of any of them.
Well, I mean, what was the one that
sounds good?
What was
Tell me more.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a new season, and it's a new season of football, which means Nance and Michaels, and they do these reads. What's like the good I'm even a network guy. Like me and my wife will watch corny network shows. She likes them. And some of them are I can handle. That being said, what's new? Like what is premiering this week, last week? What should I be watching, Tim?
So in terms of shows that they've been talking up, the new Wonder Years, I'm definitely going to watch that. That looks like it's probably going to be really good. Fred Savage is an executive producer. I'm totally going to watch the new Wonder Years. The Big Leap seems very interesting too. It's like a thriller. And anyway, so I'm definitely going to be watching The Big Leap. I'm very excited for the final season of This Is Us, which is what this season is.
Hate that show.
I know you do, but I'm looking
This
forward.
is Cust. is the name of the show.
I've been watching it since the very beginning, and so I'm looking very much towards it. And that new one, La Brea, that seems like it could be an interesting show too. So these are the ones that are being advertised. Plus, the new season of The Masked Singer is about to begin, which I love. And the Survivor starts up. Some seasons I'm in, some seasons I'm out. But maybe I'll be in on this season of Survivor.
Survivor started like 3 weeks ago, didn't it?
If it did, then I'm out on this season. I sort of jump in, I watch the premiere, and then I decide whether I'm going to watch the season based on that.
All I know is Succession starts in the middle of October.
Yeah, Succession and Curb are coming back. Why would you watch any of this? Well, you can watch this show, La Brea. A massive sinkhole opens up in the middle of Los Angeles, separating families between two worlds. The mother and son, Geoff, fall into an unexplainable primeval land alongside.
That show will not see season 3, guaranteed. I bet you right now, Tim. I don't even know what it's about.
Probably it won't, but I'm going to give it a chance. All these the networks spend a ton of money and capital and attention on like their marquee show or two each year, and I feel like it's my responsibility as a lover of network TV to watch the first couple episodes of all these shows. If it's not good, I'll pull the plug. But I feel like I owe it to them. They give me so much, and I ask for so little from me. The least I can do is watch NBC's new Wednesday show or CBS's new Tuesday show. It's not much of an ask for me.
That actually doesn't help them. What would help them is if you bought Peacock.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
Well, then you don't actually want to help them then, do you?
But I'm willing to watch their show on their network.
Yeah, but they don't actually care about that. They want you to buy Peacock.
Well, that's not going to happen.
So you don't. So you actually don't care about any of these places.
I want to help them the way I want to help them.
So by not helping them at all.
Well, but also I'm watching, therefore I'm seeing their advertisements, and that's helping them too.
Can you tell me what you like about The Masked Singer, please?
It is such a good show. I am one of these people who I'm always trying to guess. Who is it that's singing? Like, oh, I've heard that voice before. Like, there was one episode that Paul Anka was on there, and he was the Masked Singer. And like, I didn't even know. Wouldn't have guessed him, but it was Robin Thicke that knew who it was because he was Canadian as well. And anyway, it's such a great show. If you're not watching, I tried The Masked Dancer this spring and summer, and it wasn't as good. But if you like top tier, enjoyable reality TV, sort of like those types of shows, The Masked Singer is fantastic, and I will go round for round with anybody who doesn't like The Masked Singer.
Right here, buddy. Round 1.
You don't like it, or you just don't watch it. There's a difference.
Fair enough. It's not for me, and I'm not even against musical theater. I like musical theater, but I ain't watching no Masked Singer. I saw there's a new CSI, like with the classic guys being brought back. Yes,
I saw that too, but they're not hyping it as much as you would have thought. So I don't know if it comes out a little later in the season or what that is.
Is Grissom back?
Yeah, that's the one that's back.
Okay.
Vegas. It's like a new Vegas CSI. I don't really know the details. I like any like cop or killing terrorist show. So I saw there's a new edition of like FBI I could watch, but I'm still like, we're on like season 11 of Blue Bloods. Tom Selleck is still in my house every Friday night, friends.
Do you watch that with do you watch that with your mom?
No, but
all of these shows are geared towards 55.
Yeah, I know. My grandma really liked Blue Bloods.
Yeah,
she she really liked it. I don't know. That was you bring up it's a Friday night drama. It's for old people and me. Tom Selleck, still a classic though. That Reagan family, I can't quit them. I'll watch them until they take them off the air.
Yeah, they are back. Grissom's back. Georgia Fox is back.
That's going to be a great show. That's going to be appointment TV.
Is it?
Yes.
Just recycling. I don't know.
Okay, well, I loved a CSI, so I'm in. They've got.
I get it. If you were big into that, you definitely owe there's brand like equity and loyalty, so you're definitely going to tune in and see what they did. Just like it seems like you're so gung ho for the new Wonder Years.
The new Wonder Years, The Big Leap, which I think could be really interesting too. Like, yeah, there's shows that I think I'll say this now. I think 2021 is going to be a marquee year for new network TV television.
Now,
Right,
I
here,
think
just cursed them.
here's bad news for the big leap. Apparently, Scott Foley's in it, and I don't know really if any of the shows he's in make it past like half a season.
Well, I can just say that I think it's going to be good, and I'm very excited for this season of network TV. And this is why September was a good time of year, because you get to be either reacquainted with the old friends that have been gone from your life since May, or you get to be introduced to new ones. And I'm very excited.
You just be watching the challenge. That makes way more sense to me than anything else. But here we go. Minnesota at what? What do you want now?
No, I just had a slight beef, but we can move on.
No, go ahead.
I don't know. It makes me, I guess, so anti-person of the people, but I have my own thing that's custing me at the moment, Pat. And like a lot of people, or just look at me, I enjoy fast food and I live in the city, and sometimes parking at these places can be hard, and these places don't have lots of parking spots. And I've noticed every single goddamn parking spot is some food delivery person without even an order yet, like waiting to hit submit on an order.
Yeah, you know what? They're waiting to get my food.
And they need to be reined in.
No, you need to fucking calm yourself and just order it from your phone and get it delivered
Parking
to you.
spots need to be taken away and left for the ordinary people like me and Geoff who are going to McDonald's to get our food the good old-fashioned way.
The whole
Jeff and I are
parking lot is
Jeff and I are
literally
having a
filled.
mind melt this week. Jeff and I are seeing the world in the same way this week. I'm very encouraged.
I have another beef on this.
Hold on,
Like,
you're men of the people. I mean, I would just call you suckers.
No, I'm not. I'm saying this is very
What an
anti-people.
elitist thing to say.
I'm not trying to be anti-people. Maybe this makes me elitist in some ways, because I respect these people to deliver the food and make their living, but they're literally just waiting there like a bot trying to catch a pair of shoes.
Yes, they're like the taxi
They
cab
don't even
lined
have
up
the
at the
order
airport.
yet. Get out of the freaking lot. There's 4 spots. There's 4 of you. There's 8 of you. Get out of here.
Jeff's right. Jeff's objectively right. There's literally no argument to the contrary.
Hey, listen,
Like this-
Can I go on?
I will, if I'm ever going to order fast food from home, I will go onto the app and see which one delivers the fastest, and I will go to that one. That's probably how McDonald's always ends up as winners. Like, hey, get your McDonald's delivered in 10 minutes. Like,
Of
perfect.
course. There's 6 people waiting to hit. I'll take Mayo's order.
Excellent. They make more money off me than they're making off of you.
Hey, and this doesn't even go into the fact that I feel like I'm already being like disrespected when my simple one-man order is being delayed by some Uber office lunch.
Yes, that's
Like, it's-
preach.
And
Preach.
listen, I like ordering on the app. Even when I order on the app, I don't want to be behind 5 Uber orders. I'm your customer. I'm goddamn here.
And I'm
I
a
have-
loyal customer. I go back 3-4
Yeah,
times a week.
I'm loyal.
So if I
They
should be looked
actually
at-
know me. The guy that cleans the French fry greaser at night, like we wave to each other.
Yes, I have that same experience. Like
He
I
knows
know
me.
some of the people at the McDonald's.
Just like that's McDonald's. But the people at Harvey's outside the asshole, they know me too, Pat. And they agree with me. He's an asshole.
That's because your
That's just
picture's
for a
up in the
record.
picture. That's 'cause your
I
picture's
pretend
up.
to like the Raptors talking to my guy at Harvey's.
So here's the difference of why they prioritize my order over your guys' order. Because you two are addicts.
They
and
don't
you're not-
care.
and
Whatever
you're not-
comes in
and-
first.
And you're not going to stop going there regardless. They want my money. They want those big orders because those are like one-offs for the most part. It's not Tim who just said he's going 3-4 times a day or something like that.
Listen, they could punch me in the face as they're handing me my order through the drive-through window, and I would return 2 days later to get my EMMs.
I'm embarrassed. Monday through Wednesday, Domino's does 50% off through the app. My boys
Yes.
know me over there. They know me. Like, they know me. They see that order come in. They know exactly how I like it. Sometimes I like to change it up. We take away that pizza, like tomato sauce. We go barbecue sauce. And I'm like, boys, like you've got to, because it's not like as scientific, like a plopper to do the barbecue sauce. It's more of like a manual distribution. And they know how I like it. Okay. They know how I like it. They take care of me.
This is why loyalty matters. And because
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
loyal-
Hold on. Why does loyalty matter when I get treated better than you guys do at your favorite place?
No, but they
You're right. But
But-
that's sometimes not true, because when I have a complaint, like
I get listened
They'll
to.
always accommodate me.
Yes, I
why
always
the
get
fuck am I going to
accommodated.
McDonald's and complaining? I'm getting fucking cheap fast food. I'm
No,
gonna
no,
go
I
back
know.
and be like, oh my god, my drink
No.
order got messed up. I demand a free. Like,
I
no,
know,
fucking
yeah,
up.
all
Just
the
be
time.
like,
Whoa,
all the
stop the
time I
clock.
complain.
Stop the clock. I'm like a plain eater. I like a burger with cheese and ketchup. So when it has all the fixins and I show my guy like knows. He's seen me there so many times. He knows I didn't make the mistake. He knows that's all I mean. I'm not actually complaining. I'm not actually upset at anyone.
Same way.
there.
I'm a double cheeseburger, no ketchup with McChicken sauce.
So
And
if you
it's not-
put like mustard on, like they'll know. Oh yeah,
if
sorry about
there's
that.
ketchup on that burger, they know for me because that's my routine order. They'll know he didn't order his double cheeseburger that way. He never orders his.
I
Exactly.
want no.
Thank
You know
you.
what? We are going to McDonald's together, and I can guarantee you, no one there fucking has a clue who you are.
No one orders it the way I do, so I'm sure that
No one
that is-
does.
Do you want to know something? Oh, sorry. Go. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I want you and Tim to get to the bottom of actually going to McDonald's. To see if
No,
someone
Tim
knows.
is just saying this because his order is like what he thinks is unique. Probably not unique whatsoever. Just no, they have no idea who you are.
It was really jarring. I don't know if they do this in
He's
your
gone. He
parts,
went to
but
McDonald's.
it's sometimes they rotate like the staff, like the lunch manager changes locations or maybe he's really good and done a great job. So they go send them somewhere else or to do training. And I'm rattled when I see these new people. I'm rattled.
You guys,
I'm not so
Um,
rattled, but when I see faces that I know, I get excited a little
Yeah,
bit.
oh.
Like that person there, I know he or she is going to look after me. My order is going to be correct. They know I like-
why
the
do
fact
you
is
think
I-
that?
I-
Because you recognize them. They see 1,000 people a day.
it's true.
I mean, yes, but like they recognize me and they recognize you because we're loyal customers. I don't know how many loyal customers they really have these days. I think most people are doing what you do now these days. Everyone ordering off the Uber Eats and whatever. Well, it's those of us who are still loyal customers who go a couple times a week, like a lot of people.
Couple
In
times
person?
a week.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. The new lunch manager, like giving me beef about an extra barbecue sauce. My old guy would just like
no, because it's
do it
they
with a
know.
smile. I'm like, this isn't going to be good. I don't like this crew
They
here.
know I like.
I
some
miss
extra
my
honey
old
for dipping.
crew.
They know I like extra honey for dipping my fries or whatever, and like there's no questions asked. But every now and then, like, oh, it's like 30 cents for honey. And of course, I pay it. I'm not going to not pay it. I got to have my honey. But at the same time, it's like I can tell that the regular people aren't on because they know if I'm ordering the double cheeseburger, no ketchup with McChicken sauce, and a medium fries and a DC, that person is also interested in having a couple of honeys to go with.
I need to say something as a disclaimer for all of this, just for all you people in future reference. I know I'm crazy. Like, I understand that. I understand there's like such a level of some not normal. I don't want to be your normal, but I know I'm crazy. Tim like thinks we're entirely normal here and having.
We are being normal here. Pat's the strange one. You and I are the normal ones here on this conversation.
Yeah.
You get it.
No, the fact that like we care.
This is like a real priority for both of you. in your
Yeah,
life.
no, we're weird. We're
It's
trust
something
me.
I think about.
We're weird.
That's
I have
insane.
one more.
It's also very sad, Tim.
I
No,
agree.
it's not.
I agree. I have to admit it. I acknowledge it.
How is
Pathetic
patronizing
man.
local restaurants sad? I don't think it's sad.
You're calling McDonald's a local restaurant?
Well, it's a restaurant and it's very close to me. So I think that matches the definition of local restaurant.
All right, what's your other one, Geoff?
Quickly on the same subject, Pat. All my buddies, they're on me to try this like great burger joint from Midtown. My wife's out. I got to put the kids to bed. I do this delivery you love so much. If you're going to bring me my goddamn food on a bike, I should have the right to cancel it. I should have the right to cancel it. There's like a limit on how far you should be allowed to bike me my hamburgers. I don't like that one bit. I
Yeah.
don't like these things.
It's not great, but you're rolling the dice. Listen, getting the food delivered is never going to be as good as going somewhere to go get it.
There should be a car.
these
There should
are
be
the
a car bike option. I should be able to.
Okay,
This is where I always go.
I am into that, but it would probably cost you, I mean, $10 more on delivery to make sure. It's like getting the Uber versus the Uber XL.
Why
If
does
you-
this person want to take the bike? Who wants to bike that far?
It's people who can't afford cars but still want to make an income.
Why not just go get the food yourself? And you'll
I'm
meet-
home alone. I have 2 kids. The wife is out.
Tim doesn't understand that. Tim is
Well, it's not that
Tim is a millennial who just has no responsibility, so he has disposable
He's
income.
got
He can
time
do
to watch
whatever he
Masked
wants.
Singer,
I DVR the Masked Singer and watch it sometimes.
my
and you have
God.
time for it.
I make time for it. I make priorities. It's not hard to put the TV on in the background while you're doing other things. Like I don't have to like watch everything I'm doing, every little jot and tittle and make notes about it. But like,
But Pat will acknowledge we don't own our. There's times where like if the TV, like we don't even.
I
It's
get
not
it.
even ours.
I get the TV at my office on Sundays, and then I get it from maybe 8:30 to 9:30 at night. That's it.
okay, fine.
Tim doesn't.
Daddy shows. No one likes watching daddy shows.
No one wants to watch daddy shows. We're on to Boss Baby on Netflix now, which actually isn't bad.
Don't mind it. Don't mind it. I agree.
The movie?
It's a show. It's a movie. I don't know. There's both. I think there's even a Boss Baby too.
The
I don't
Alex
mind it.
Baldwin one, right?
Yes.
That's the movie. This is the show.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Minnesota and Arizona. Can we talk about that now?
Oh, we're going to talk football? Okay.
Unless you got any more fast food takes that I just make you sound incredibly sad and pathetic. But
Well, you think it makes us sound sad. I think it makes Geoff and I sound like
the fact that Geoff understands it, but you don't seem to realize it, is why you're the insane person.
I think it's pathetic how much I care about the Chargers telling me which like the uniform schedule for the year. It means a lot to me, and I'm crazy enough to want to know. But I understand, like that makes me pathetic.
I
this
bet
is
you if
kind
you
of the
ran
same.
this through Cam on Friday, he would have the exact same positions Geoff and I have.
Cam is insane.
Yeah,
I know him.
Your
for my whole life.
barometer of sanity is Cam.
Yes, Cam is a level-headed, good guy.
Yes, he's a good guy.
Great
Great
guy.
guy.
No one is
Also,
denying that he's not a
horsey
great guy.
sauce is the best fast food condiment. He's right. Horsey sauce is the best fast food condiment.
So, Tim, do you get your Diet Cokes like Cam does when they're like half drank in the office and people have left them for a minute?
No, I'm a germaphobe. I could never do that.
I mean, he sounds like more of a man of the people than you are.
I don't think many of the people are scrounging up leftover DCs from people's tables to drink it.
But this is
I
the
think
person you're comparing yourself to in terms of what's
Well,
normal.
I said he would probably agree with our take. So your network is filled with people who feel a certain way and you feel differently and you think you're the normal one and we're the weird one.
Tim,
okay.
that is the entire premise of Mayo Media Network. I'm the sane, sensible person, and the rest of you are fucking off the rocker.
I don't think so.
That's what makes it so successful, I think.
I think if I was off my rocker, I would know. That sounded crazy.
You want to rephrase that, do you?
No, I've said it now. It doesn't really matter. I can rephrase it or not rephrase it. I've said it. So
I'm sane. You gotta believe me.
Homer watching the insane thing.
I mean,
Tim, you
I'm
laughed. You
embarrassed.
laughed for 2 consecutive minutes at a picture of a Zoomer eating Tide Pods earlier. You had a sig cough, and then you started laughing again like a fucking mental case.
It was very funny. Oh, please, we need to get through these games.
We're past that point now. Look at Zoomer Zach chowing down on these Tide Pods.
It's such an outrageous photo. Because he's eating so sloppy with they're all over his shirt. Okay.
Minnesota at Arizona. Arizona is favored by 4.5 points in this game. This feels like a big overreaction to what happened last week and what our notions of Arizona being a good team, Minnesota probably being a pretty good team, but getting beat by the Bengals and played overtime last week. 51 is the over-under. Geoff, I worry that Chandler Jones is going to end up with like 20 sacks in this game against Kirk Cousins, but I think I'm going to take Minnesota to cover this number. Even though it's on the road, even though they look like crap last week, I still think skill-wise they match up pretty well with Arizona, who everyone just, oh my God, Arizona can't be beat now. Like, Arizona's not as good as they looked against Tennessee. Minnesota's not as bad as they looked against Cincinnati. It's somewhere in the middle. Arizona probably wins, but I think that Minnesota's definitely live in this game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bet last week, as stress-free as it comes if you were on the Cardinals, Pat. The Vikings, I went 6-10 with my picks last week, and my biggest mistake was blindly all 3 games where I said, I'm going to take these 3 teams that have such off-season, entering season stank and hope that that's just not true because everyone's fading them. And it was the Vikings, it was the Colts, and it was the Giants, and they all sucked. That being said, the Vikings are the only team on that list that I'm tempted to go back to this week, and they're the only team that played in overtime last week, which is my own little thing that I've taken that I do want to back this week. I'm going to give the Vikings another go. Close game. I'll take these points. But I remember we discussed in our offseason show, Arizona's got a sneaky, dominant home field advantage that, you know, we would never honestly even associate or assume that they have, but they do. That being said, I'm going to give the Vikings another shot here.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm pretty pot committed to the Vikings, so I'm certainly not backing off from them now. Road dome, you know how I feel about that, and that's what Minnesota's got here. I think they win the game. I think they can.
All right, Arizona goes with the coin. Atlanta and Tampa Bay. The Bucks, coming off the extendo break, are favored by 12 points at home. 52 is the over-under. Atlanta can't be as bad as they looked last week, right?
No way they can look that bad. That was the most, other than Green Bay, that was the most pitiful performance of the weekend. And I just think everything went wrong, and then they just sort of like shut down the systems, and that's how that game ended up. And Tampa, we saw them reverting to form of last year of winning games close and not covering numbers when they have to cover big numbers. So it's a divisional game. It's a ton of points. I think it's too many points. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons here. God help me. I'm going to give the Falcons another go.
I am siding with Tim here. I think the Bucks kind of roll them, and maybe the Falcons can figure out their offense a little bit. Maybe they can figure out how to block. That would be nice because they're not playing a ton of defense at the moment. Do you really think that the Bucks are going to go like Geoff, like 38-7, something like that? Does that seem like a Bucks score to you?
Not really. I hate having to pick Atlanta here. They probably had the worst week 1 experience of any team, and that includes the Packers. And at least the Packers can maybe acknowledge they got wiped down, and they have Aaron Rodgers, and they'll recover. And, you know, Tennessee's had some success before, but Atlanta made an effort to sort of give this can or you know, to kick this can down the road a little longer and keep some of this intact. And what a horrible display at home. I'm dumb enough, like whoever just said it, to take all these points and think we can get a backdoor. I think Tampa will allow us to keep it close. I hate this game. I'm not betting it, but Atlanta.
We all took Atlanta plus 12 against the Bucks. That's not great. Here we go. Here's a primetime game for you. Probably the game of the week. Dallas at the Chargers. I actually have a strong take on this game, Geoff. It's -3 for the Chargers, 55.5, the highest score, the highest over-under of the week right now. I don't get why it's so close. Yeah, Dallas had a lot of things break right to barely lose to the Buccaneers. The Chargers really had nothing go right in terms of their upside last week against a much better defense. I think the Chargers score like 50 points in this game. Give me the Chargers -3.
I'm smitten from ear to ear. I am so excited. This is going to be a fun football game. You guys will be able to enjoy it much more than I will because it'll be entertaining for you. I mean, Herbert was amazing. He threw 3 bad balls, 3 uncatchable balls, in my opinion, in that game. One of them was a bad interception, and there was such a great plan to get that ball out quick. But he had enough time where he didn't even have to throw a check down. Like Austin Eckler didn't even have a target in the passing game last week. This week against Dallas, we are going over the top. We are going to show off the gun show. I got a Sim 2 driver like Tim, and I named it Justin. because we are putting balls into the sky and they are dropping right where they
I
need
named
to
my
be.
driver too, but I called him Simon because it's a sim. So we both name our drivers. I tell you, we're like on a mind meld this week. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this isn't good for where I'm hoping the vote will end up in some time, but I'm at least hoping people will see. I think a lot. I acknowledge that's like weird and different. In all seriousness, though, Dallas will have more trouble on their offensive line with the Collins situation. I don't believe I fear a single person on that defense. So I think the Chargers will be able to do what they need to do. And in closing, we all know I love Phillip Rivers. He's my foxhole. People don't understand, but he was my foxhole. But we probably lose that game last week. And if we win it, it doesn't end with the Chargers having the ball. There were 6 minutes and 50 seconds left. Washington did not see the ball again. I don't care if it's 3rd and 5. I don't care if it's 3rd and 8. I don't care if it's 3rd and 15. What happens now in my life, in the movies that I get to watch, is I throw a catchable ball. And there's a chance to move the sticks on every goddamn throw. Derwin James, welcome back. As Coach Staley said, the movies we get to write are a hell of a lot different with you, friend. I'm excited. Dallas doesn't have a defensive playmaker. They'll score too, but I got both sides. I got Derwin. I probably have the 3 best defensive players in this game. So I'll make a play or two. They'll score. I'll score. I'll make a play or two. Love the Chargers.
Coin's going Dallas, Tim, and it sounds like Geoff's eyes might rain if things don't go as well as they do in his mind movies.
I'm about to run through a wall for Geoff's team. Give me the Bolts. I like them there in this game. And I thought, Geoff, you were going to go through your theory that you explained to me on our thread there about how Dallas having this mini bye is not an advantage. Because I totally agree with you, but I don't want to steal your thunder because it was your idea.
Yeah, well,
Dallas.
Geoff has his own Chargers show, by the way. Did you go over this on the show?
I'm gonna bring it up. I haven't gotten so much into the Dallas part of the show, but I'd just like to say for Dallas having the extra time, they couldn't watch tape until Sunday. What do they want to go look at? John Carroll, Division III? Like what tape? We're doing so many things on both sides of the ball. So we got out of that game healthy. I don't think there's much tape that Dallas could have seen before 4:00 Eastern on Sunday. And we had 3 days of advance to look at Dallas tape. So for us, I don't think them having extra rest matters at all. It's one situation in the league where I don't think there's much they could have done with it because we're running new systems on both sides of the ball. Good luck. I'm going to have so much fun watching that game. I'm going to have so much fun.
Did you think that the game was rigged on Sunday against the Chargers?
I thought for moments that game was rigged, Pat. I am worried. There is probably somebody in Washington right now who's been kidnapped. And I don't know if the authorities know. Because what happens when powerful people pay a lot of money to get a desired result and they don't get the result? That should be concerning.
Seems like the game wasn't fixed then.
Somebody is probably in trouble. I don't know how a ball that goes 15 yards airborne can be called a fumble. On no planet. Refs make bad calls all game. That's acceptable. When they go to New York and get looked at, and you want to tell me a ball that literally travels 15 yards in the air, how do you think it got there?
I will say live, we watched it. I said to Pat, I think that could be a fumble. That was my first inclination that could have been a strip.
But he forces it forward. I don't understand. How does it go 15 yards airborne and be a fumble?
Well, it all depends where the impetus on the ball is.
There was no empty palm. Phillip Rivers was my quarterback for like 16 years. I know empty palm.
So more Chargers on Feinbolt coming up on Mayo Media Network. Subscribe right now. But yeah, Routed Chargers coin is on Dallas for this one. I want to keep this one quick. Tennessee and Cincinnati, or Tennessee at Seattle, sorry. Seattle's favored by 5. It opened at 6. So money's going towards Tennessee, 54. No game this week feels like the sharp side is more on the Titans than this one, but I'm going to take the Seahawks anyway. I just think that the Seahawks are better. And the biggest thing that I noticed with the Titans is one, and I brought this up to Seeley on the ranking show, is that it's like they had never seen RPO before when they were playing defense. Like whatever Kyler was doing was like just new to them. So that wasn't good because they're going to see some of that this week with Russell Wilson. The offense for the Seahawks was actually somewhat creative for the first time in 10 years. That was kind of encouraging. And all of a sudden, Arthur Smith goes, and what happens? Their play action rate drops from 33% to 10%. They need to fix those things to have a chance against Seattle. And I just don't know if they can get into a boat race with them, especially because they can't block, and all of a sudden Seattle has a pass rush. Give me Seattle -5.
I think Arizona's really good. I predicted them to win the division on our show. So them looking fantastic, playing like a top 8 team, I guess shouldn't have surprised me. And I'm going to roll with that train of thought when picking the Titans here, that they got by a team that I believe is of an upper crust. Seattle is great also. And that division's fun. That division's going to come down to who's going to make those defensive plays when they play head to head, because everyone can score 35 there. As for this game, I have enough respect for what's gone on in Tennessee over a few years to they'll get off the mat. I don't know if they're going to win. This is a 4-quarter football game. It will be close. It's funny to see Tennessee having Money Badger and him missing extra points and field goals, short ones. I don't know how he has a job, but this is going to be a really close game. So I'm going to take these points. And, as some data came in from our boy Kyle Soppy, Pat, that 5.5 points, that is about for betting purposes, it flirts with just about over high 50s, 60% to the dog.
Yeah, I'm not buying Tennessee, to be perfectly honest with you. I saw some real, and I think Seattle's better than Arizona for one thing, but I picked Seattle to win the division. You picked Arizona. We differ on that, but I think that they're pretty close. Kyler's more dynamic, but I still think that Russell Wilson's a better quarterback. I think overall his weapons are better. Hopkins might be better than Lockett and Metcalf individually, but combined they're not in the rest of that offense. So I think that Tennessee's Arthur Smith may have plugged a lot of holes for them in his vision for this offense. And until they can replicate that, they feel like a team out of time right now. They really want to run the ball as much as possible, but their defense sucks so much that trying to establish the run isn't going to work. Their offensive line is really bad that it just seems like they're doing everything counterintuitive. And they have Mike Vrabel, defensive guy, can't play defense whatsoever. It just doesn't seem like they're not, and I think they can turn it around because I do think they have good pieces. It just seems like they were so out of sorts in week 1, and maybe they're the week 1 team that I am way wrong about, but I just see them going down this hole again.
I'm giving them a mulligan. Give me the Titans. I think it's going to be a very close game. Maybe the Seahawks win by 3, maybe Tennessee wins by 3. But like Geoff said, a 4-quarter game. I expect Tennessee to be proud and devise a pretty good game plan, and Seattle is always one step away from reverting back to running the ball 40 times and making tons of mistakes. Never forget that either. Don't ever trust Seattle to be safe for you. Give me the Titans.
Sunday night, Kansas City at Baltimore, 3.5. The Ravens are dogs at home. 54.5 is the over-under. The Ravens are so very cursed, Geoff. It's tough to know what to do with them at this point. I feel like they're going to put up a good fight with the Ravens, but I got to see if Jimmy Smith is going to be back, because without Marcus Peters and without Jimmy Smith, even the Raiders were going down the field on them. Not great if you're playing the Chiefs the next week.
Not good at all. I've mentioned it a few times. I lost a fortune on this game last year, week 3. I'm in primetime, I believe, on Monday night. I will not make the same mistake again. I'm not committing to how much I would be on the Chiefs, but I'm not betting Baltimore here. Give me Kansas City, who beat Cleveland by playing 1.5 quarters of football. Right now, Baltimore's not in good shape to have this matchup. No. I hope Baltimore's incredibly physical with them, because the Chargers play the Chiefs in week 3, and maybe something happens that could be advantageous to that. But I like the Chiefs here. There's not a spread that they're going to put out that would make me want to bet Baltimore in this game right now with those injuries, especially on the back end.
Yeah, the back end and playing in overtime on Monday night short week and going up against the Chiefs is a very tough spot. Tim, I'm curious to know if you're bailing on the Ravens yet.
The whole world is giving up on Baltimore after last night and after their surfeit of injuries. And now Kansas City comes into town. And oh my goodness, how could the whole world is going to be chasing their losses on Sunday by getting down on the Chiefs. And they will have forgotten that Lamar is a NFL MVP. He made some plays against the Raiders last night that were stupendous. It took some weird bounces for them to lose. He is proud. That team is talented. That team is well coached. The Ravens are covering the ball game. And they're the fourth part of that teaser. We're going to tease them through 7 and through 10 to get them to 10.5. And I am going to take Baltimore to cover the number in this game. I'm not giving up on the Ravens one bit. I'm behind you still 100% Baltimore for this season.
Well, that's all I needed to hear, Geoff. I shall be taking Kansas City as well, -3.5 on the road in Baltimore. Might have to try to find an adjusted spread where I take the -10.5 as well, especially if Tim hits the first 3 parts of this teaser. That just sounds like free money, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Tim brings up a lot of like gambling points that I think before I lose a lot of money on this game, I'll want to pay attention to. Could smell like a game where everyone's going to bet Kansas City and the spread's not going to move and the books are going to hold.
But this is great for bettors out there because the square play is going to be Kansas City, and normally that would just lose in primetime. But Tim is still backing the Ravens, so we're going to win.
You're right. Sorry, books. No, in that sense, sure. But I do respect Tim's point of how this game will probably feel and play for the books, for the public, after what always feels like a long Sunday. One team gagged it to Oakland. The other team took it back from a Browns team that everyone is, for the most part, excited about. They see what Patrick Mahomes can do in 8 seconds, and they do. You have that exact thought everyone does that I have. Well, what if he plays for 3.5 quarters really good? Then they're screwed. And you have to think of how many things have to go right all night for Baltimore with the injuries and everything. The game script. I'm not here. You should have been able to dominate Oakland, scoring so many more points than they did in that football game.
The Ravens just put someone else on the injured reserve now too, Tim. I'm trying to find who it was. Oh, offensive lineman Tyree Phillips out and placed on injured reserve.
Oh, I don't care. I'm not deterred.
Ravens,
here I stand. I can do no other.
Ravens fans want to know when you're going to get what will it take for you to get off of them?
When they are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs and not a moment before.
So like week 5? So
no,
Geoff, I got this text from a friend. It just says another cool $215 win. I bet on the curse and I won. I knew the free money Ravens were screwed. I need the free money picks this week so I can bet the opposite. People are like making like money off this now.
Well, look, you put the show out on Wednesdays. People have multiple days to hear our picks. And like, yeah, okay, go ahead and pick against me if you want. But like, I picked the 2 Super Bowl teams correctly once last year, and I had a perfect Survivor season once, and I've beaten Pat in the head-to-head in picks before Pat. So yeah, sure, no, go ahead, pick against me, doubt me, don't believe in me. That's fine. It just fires me up and fuels me for the future. I am only interested in helping the people. That's who I represent, and that's all I'm interested in. So go ahead.
Your point of references are so good. One time I got really lucky.
It was 1 week I won 2 free money teasers. Don't you tell me that I can't produce for the people. Remember the time I won that guy that teaser who bet his rent money on the Oilers and Maple Leafs because I claimed that they were free money and then sweated it out with him because I didn't want him to lose his rent money on those games? That won, by the way.
Michael Thomas.
Context is king. Someone sees Tim. Oh, he's got a lot of followers. He does this thing. Oh, they do a lot of shows. Yeah. Oh, he's touting a hockey game. I'm putting my rent on it.
This guy's paying off. Michael Thomas is off the reserve pup list, Tim.
Okay.
He's now on the COVID-19 reserve list.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, he's not going to play this season.
Yeah, he might not come back, will he?
The fact that he chose to get surgery in like June when he knew that by doing that it was going to to prevent his opportunities to play on time. I think that a divorce between the Saints and Thomas is inevitable.
I wonder if he'll end up going anywhere this year once he's eligible to return in week
Probably
6.
not.
Monday night game, Detroit and Green Bay.
Eh,
Is this going to be 34-3 for Green Bay, or is it going to be like 27-25 Green Bay? I feel like those are my two options here. Because they're favored by 11. I kind of want to take Detroit.
if it's close, it's 27-25 Detroit, not 27-25 Green Bay.
And you like this, so you obviously like that other eliminator way more than this. Who was playing Houston again?
Cleveland.
I like the Packers to cover, to win, and we're teasing the Packers down.
Oh, you're teasing the Packers down. Okay, so that gets Baltimore off the hook potentially here. So -4, you're teasing them down to?
Indeed.
I'm taking Detroit in this game. I think Detroit can score when they're playing prevent defenses. And if Green Bay is going to post up a whole bunch of points, then I can see that happening here. So it's almost like the Jacksonville situation. I don't think Detroit's going to win, but I think they can get inside 11. They just did it to a much better team in San Francisco.
Yeah, but at home. And the Packers have something really to prove, you would think. Or the Packers are just completely dead, and we just didn't realize it yet. Because if this game is really close, the Packers can, I don't know how you salvage that season.
You win more games. There's 17 games in the season. If you go,
There are, but
okay.
that is trending very poorly. And I mean, the line, this better be a comfortable win for Green Bay. If they win this at the gun, I don't know. I would feel very, very comfortable going against them the week following.
Geoff, me and the coin got Detroit. Tim has the Packers. Who are you taking on Monday night?
It'll be midnight. I'll be sleeping. We're going to get that back door, Pat. I'm going to take the Lions here. While Green Bay got absolutely humiliated, and if I'm the wrong side of this, probably might only have real money on it because it's Monday and I'm going to be up for the first half. But I despite being humiliated, I don't care. I'm going to take all of these points and the Lions to keep it somewhat of a football game.
All right. Detroit for the three of us. Green Bay for Cust. I did want to say, Norm Macdonald died today. Usually celebrity deaths don't bum me out at all, but this one actually did. I love Norm. Norm was the best.
He was. R.I.P. He was hilarious.
Did you see this, Geoff?
I did see it. That was really, really sad. I like Norm, like a lot of you. We're in sort of that age where where we started watching, some of those things. And he was super cool. And I'm a big fan of Norm. And my mom's old personal trainer was in Dirty Work with him in like one scene. In the scene in the house where they have the fish.
Oh yeah.
He's like one of the bad guy crew members.
I have seen Dirty Work, I think, 100 times. It was one of the first DVDs I ever owned.
There's a lot of Toronto landmarks in that one, are just being local.
Did you see Norm's last tweet? What it was?
No,
it was
Morikawa.
It was a Colin Morikawa. How he was talking about the Colin Morikawa to miss the cut odds at the British Open on DraftKings Sportsbook, and how they were like plus 350 or something like that, and people were betting them. That was stupid. Even though he was coming. I touted that in my props video that week. So I was there. I bet Morikawa to miss the cut in the event he won the goddamn major. So Norm was one of us. He enjoyed a good bet on sports.
Oh yeah, I've heard him and Artie do his thing, and a part of that and Artie's downfall. And I even listened to a lot of old like Stern stuff, and there's some great. I'll probably listen to old Norm on Stern tonight, playing some Madden, ripping it up with Herbert.
You good at the game now?
No, I suck.
You should play Tim online. Then you could win.
Probably.
Tim plays the computer on rookie mode and then thinks he can beat people and just gets waxed every time.
Not on rookie mode, on all pro mode.
No, you don't.
Just that's a step below all Matt.
Did you know, Geoff, that Tim punts on like 4th and 3 in Madden?
I'm not surprised to hear that.
I like to play like a real football game.
I like to win.
This does not serve him well in trying to win Madden games, put it that way. All right. Super locks of the week. I'm 1-0, so I will go first. I got Buffalo -3.5. Like I said, I actually bet it at -3 a little bit earlier, so I don't even really care about the hook. You know what? Maybe no. I guess I'll take the push if it comes my way. I still think they cover the 3.5. I might even look as an alt spread on this game. Geoff, who is your super lock?
I'm going to take the Chicago Bears at home in a off the horrible spot game last week. Bengals played full 5 quarters. They get that win. The Bears just, they quiet the crowd down. They're not so stupid just yet, despite we all agree on what should happen. I like the Bears in a bounce back.
Tim?
Pittsburgh Steelers -5 against the Raiders at home.
That game scares me too much. It would have been Buffalo, then the Rams for me. Me, Pizzola, and Cam will have our gold, silver, and bronze selections of the week on Friday's show. I am going with the Browns in Survivor. Tim, you said you were as well?
I am.
Geoff?
3-way.
So we're all going to be in or out together for the second consecutive week. So to recap, your free money 7-point teaser, Tim, you have Cincinnati +9.5, Cleveland -5, Denver +1 through 0, Baltimore +10.5, and Green Bay -4.
That's right. Bet the farms, win 3.2 farms.
It's only +320.
Yeah, well, it's a 7-point tease, right?
All right. 0-2 last week, so you need to win some money back.
We win this week. We're in the black.
There you go. All right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo experience this week. I think we got to everything. We had to power through those late games because we spent a lot of time talking about network TV and sweep season. Geoff, what do you got going on this week?
Fine Bolt. That'll be out probably tomorrow, Pat, because I got that all done except something on the back end, having a little fun. So that'll be out there. You'll see me break down the Chargers even more. And because of some Jewish holidays on Wednesday and personal thing on Friday, Geoff Fienberg show will not be happening this week. My video with Fortnite championship picks with Rick Gaiman is out. It's on my Twitter feed. Looking forward to that. PGA Tour is back. I love Andy, and I saw you guys did that show together, so that was entertaining for me as well.
I like that both you and I have just decided to call it the Fortnite Open because I don't need oops, whatever. Do you think they'll have a Fortnite concert there? Tim Undercust?
Tim Undercust.
That's not my name, but John Rahm is going to win it.
Hot take.
That's very good for us who didn't bet John Rahm.
Yeah. I have my full golf bets in the newsletter, so go subscribe to that. And if every week you want to watch the show a little bit earlier, we're filming it later than we normally do. So it'll actually be, the newsletter will be out earlier. The show will be out earlier in the newsletter. But if not, we'll see you on Wednesday morning. Play that Prize Picks pool, code MMN if you haven't got that already, and just hit the description, and I'll contact the winners of the giveaways as well. Cheat sheet will be up on DKNation.com, and continue watching the Pat Mayo Experience and all of the shows on Mayo Media Network. I want to thank the coin. Tim, what do you think the coin's name is?
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter what the coin's name is. It's the
right.
coin, pal. We'll see you next time.
Should have saw that coming.
Yeah, you never see it coming.
I don't know why I don't.
That's because you live at the end of Jabroni Drive at Smackdown Hotel.
What can I say?
All right. See you guys later.
Yeah.
Stop it, Paul.
Can we get someone to Photoshop a Jets jersey on this guy?
No, please don't do that.
Zoomer Zach.
Please don't do that.
He doesn't even take, you know how it's like cool in New York, like when the players take the subway to the game or they take the train over to Jersey to get to MetLife. He just takes his electric scooter to the games.
No, stop it. Stop. I thought you say you're gonna that he pikes it or say he pedals his fixed gear bike.
I don't think that Zoomers are. I mean, that was a millennial thing. He's not even a millennial. He's a Zoomer, Tim.
Whatever.
He's so Zoomerous. He has a Hawaiian middle name. That's how young he is.
Well, he didn't name himself.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just indicative of the type of parents that he has. Kind of crazy that he's a Mormon with a Hawaiian last name, isn't it?
Well, Manti Te'o was from Hawaii, and he was a Mormon person, played at Notre Dame.
If that's true, but he also, whenever he missed a tackle, he just said he was hugging his girlfriend.
All right. Enough. All right, gents. We will talk to you all later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Leave. Eating.
Experience!